I only care about myself. You know, I'm American, you know, USA all day. If you come here, we'll you up.
So you basically had like a summer cash in the bank and you were like, I need to make this jiu-jitsu work before this money runs out, basically.
Yeah, I must have had like, you know, like $1,500. I'm living at mom's house, you know what I mean? At like 20 years old. When I committed to jiu-jitsu, I completely quit all my jobs and I just had this pretty bike sitting at my parents' house. I was like, all right, time to go, you know what I mean? I sold the bike, maybe like a 2016 YZ450. That was kind of a sad point, you know, letting the bike go, but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. And I knew in my heart that this is something I needed to do. Steroids are making people that are not gifted seem like they're athletic, seem like they're incredibly strong when they're just injecting themselves.
No, because steroids are not illegal in jiu-jitsu.
Think about it. These guys have plateaued. They've been training for 15 years. I'm only at year 5. I'm going to continue to get better at a rapid rate. I still have so much to learn, and I'm already so much better than them.
I met a gypsy.
Now, if you've been following the podcast recently, you would know that we're on a massive health kick as we get ready to take on World Vets at Glen Helen in November of 2023. Athletic Greens is not only an all-in-one formula that helps me just cover all my nutritional bases, it's also the first healthy habit that I have that starts every single day. AG1 is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality that are able to offer gut health support, mood support, can affect your energy each day, and contribute to overall healthier looking hair and skin. Nick Rodriguez, aka Nicky Rod, aka Nicky Carmichael. What's happening, brother?
Not much, man. I'm happy to be out here. You took me riding yesterday. We had an absolute blast.
It was good. So shout out to Yamaha, shout out to Alpine Stars. We had 2 fresh new 4-strokes at the track, and then Alps hooked you up with some fresh gear. So we had you looking good, feeling good.
Yeah. I definitely looked the part for sure.
How so? You said it'd been maybe about 5 years since you've been like properly riding.
Yeah, it's been about 5 years. You know, I've spun the bike around the corner here and there. But yeah, about 5 years since I've hit a trail or a track. But you know, I grew up riding dirt bikes since about the age of 3 years old. You know, my dad got me on like one of those PW50s, and man, I was hooked ever since. Something I always loved. It was like just a way to fucking feel free. I don't know, the power, like having something between your legs that is just like exploding and moving. Like it's something about it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I know for sure. Like when there was a time, I did a podcast a while ago, but I just said that literally that I was like, you're just giving a 3-year-old kid an explosion between their legs and then being like, all right, bro, like it's on you. And when you're a kid and you're like that age, you're so like dependent on your parents and you kind of can't do anything for yourself. And then you give a 3-year-old a fucking moving explosion. It's just like, that's a recipe to get someone hooked for life, you know?
For sure. It's like a first step towards some independence. I remember like the first time riding the little PW50, I would just fall over and over again. And I would look at my dad and like, what is going on? Why can't I stay on this thing? Yeah.
Nah, so you for the people that don't know, you're one of the best grapplers on planet Earth these days. But yeah, humble beginnings as a motocross kid like the rest of us.
For sure. If you ask me, I am the best. You know,
Okay.
there's I pretty much have one adversary. His name's Gordon Ryan, and you know, everybody calls him the GOAT. He's been training for like 15 plus years, but I have been training jiu-jitsu for about 5 years, and I've beaten pretty much everybody in sport besides him. I called him out recently on UFC Fight Pass. just a few days ago for a match and a bet match. I was like, listen, I'll bet you $50,000 that I'll beat you. And he was like, nope, not interested.
He actually left the room.
He left.
I was there.
Yeah.
I saw it.
He knew something like that was coming. You know, he wanted to get out, and he wouldn't want to get on stage with me because like right now he looks really small, right? He has these like these big ups and downs. Like when he competes, he gets huge, and then 2 weeks later he loses like 40 pounds of muscle. So
someone say he goes through cycles.
Yeah, exactly, some kind of cycle. Yeah.
It was pretty funny. So that was the first big grappling event that I've been to over here. And so me and my wife went, we were pumped. We were like second row. And I was just like, man, Moto just does not have the jiu-jitsu beef. Like there was so much shit talk. Like it was a comedy show in a sense to where like everyone's talking shit. Some of the antics from some of the competitors, I'm just like, this is actually the best thing ever. But you basically win your match. And then Gordon gets up and just dipped, like, because he was doing the commentary, and he just like dipped, just walked straight out the back, and he was not around for any of the call outs. And normally that's his thing. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he saw something. He saw a call out coming, and he just wanted to get up out of there before it happened, you know. But yeah, I said my piece. He pretty much denied it. He was like, yeah, I don't want to compete against you. Which it's all right. I'll chase you down. I'll get it. You know what I mean? I'll find you eventually.
That's one of the good things about 80cc is that you're in. Like it was kind of what you saw with Andre and Gordon. Mm-hmm. Like Gordon had been wanting that match forever. Andre had been basically saying like, "Come and get it," and then he got it, and then he fucked him up. So it's kind of. You now get to follow that same process. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Andre Galvo, you know, one of the legends of the sport, but you know, a bit older nowadays. You know, he's past his prime for sure. Yeah. So, Glen Helen. Yeah. One of the bucket list tracks.
Absolutely.
For you. What was it like to ride Glen Helen?
Dude, even like pulling up, like you see the mountains, you see the big old Glen Helen side. It's just it was quite surreal. And we got it on a day that was pretty like relaxed. It wasn't
It was crazy mellow. It was so nice. The weather was perfect.
Yeah, super mellow, great weather, and you know, we got to ride a bit. We did the vet track as a warm up, and then a few laps on the other track, and I had to get up off there. I was like, these guys are training for something serious. Let me go back to the vet track. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had a blast. You know, I was a bit I don't want to say timid, but just like cautious, right?
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah. Because I'm like, you know, I'm a professional athlete nowadays, so like, you know, my body's health is very important. So like, you know, I wasn't sending it right away. So just took a few laps. Dude, I was getting such bad arm pump. I'm like, you know, the first few laps I was just super, super tight and tense. And fuck, you gave me some good advice, you know, about foot positioning and where you're sitting at on the seat. And honestly, made a great deal of difference, like especially spinning a few laps. But honestly, I have so much respect for moto guys because it really is an endurance sport.
Yeah,
like it's like 30-minute 30-minute race, right? 30 minutes plus one sometimes, right? Or 20 laps, whatever. But dude, it's intense. I feel like motocross is one of the sports where you have the most amount of multitasking.
Yeah.
Right? You're managing the throttle, the brake, the clutch. Sometimes you're shifting when you're in the air. It's like you have all these different dynamics, and then on top of it, you have somebody right next to you almost bagging bars the whole time. You know, it's very intense.
It's cool. I mean, it's funny because I guess jiu-jitsu is almost a meme in this podcast because it's moto. But then that's the thing that I normally do more than moto. So people always give me shit. But it's cool to have someone like you that has a passion for both, and you've done both, and to be a professional in the grappling side of things. Like I can make my assumptions of how I think it would feel or how I think it compares, but it's cool because you're fully living you're living it, you know. So like you really can make comparisons.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I understand how difficult both are. You know, like jiu-jitsu's pretty tough, but it's something I do all the time. So like, you know, breaking people's arms is like, you know, hitting triples for a regular pro guy. You know, so it's pretty you know, it's pretty everyday stuff for me. But yeah, I just always loved moto. You know, I've always watched it. Like I kind of grew up in the Bubba versus Carmichael era. You know what I mean? So that was very I like an intense rivalry. You know, it's attractive to me. Yeah.
So you get a bike at 3.
Yeah.
How much younger is Jay than you?
Jay's 5 years younger than me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had a bit of time on the bike before he kind of got in on it as well.
Yeah, like Jay rode pretty much all my hand-me-down bikes, like, you know, PW50. We had like a little CRF like 80 or something like that soon after that. And then I believe my little brother learned how to ride on a Yamaha 65 with a terrible clutch. Like it was like
I remember you saying
yeah,
that yesterday.
dude. It was so bad. Even like a decent rider would have problems like getting in the first gear. You know what I mean? It was absolutely terrible. It was about to blow up. You know, as pretty much the same day we bought it. But we really started like riding a lot once I got my license. We would just toss the bikes in my dad's van.
Yeah.
And you know, we just go like most weekends and just have a blast. And this was before, you know, I got into jiu-jitsu, kind of like in between high school and jiu-jitsu. We were just like riding most weekends. And you know, we have this spot like 15 minutes from where I grew up in South Jersey we call it Blue Hole, but it's like an old quarry and about 800 acres of land, and we would just go out there and cruise, man.
That's the dream, dude.
Yeah, you'd hit trails, and like you'd always find new trails, and you run into other people riding bikes or quads, and it was just a blast, man. We were really lucky that we grew up close enough to a spot like that we could just like get after it.
Did you have like moto friends at school that did bikes as well? Or?
I had a couple friends that were like racing like on tracks, and around high school I never even touched a track. I've always been on trails, and then I'd see them come back in like wheelchairs here and there. I'm like, dude, I'll stay on the trails. You know what I mean? Those guys are pretty committed. Yeah.
Did it fuck with your wrestling much, or like was it was just one of those things where that was like the good outlet away from wrestling?
Yeah, it was a good outlet. Like you know, when I was wrestling in like middle school, high school, I wouldn't do anything besides wrestling till after the season. You know, like summertime after school and stuff, we'd ride pretty consistently. But yeah, in wrestling, I just like have a ability to hyper focus on specific goals, and I'd use that focus towards one focus. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you ever feel the pull to race or anything like that?
I mean, I'd be like, oh yeah, I think to myself, yeah, racing would be cool, and then I see guys, you know, flying over me when I'm just hitting like a little tabletop or something. I'm like, yeah, no, you got that, bro. You know, I feel like there's only enough time, time in life to like get good at really good at one thing, maybe like 1.5, and maybe one day motocross would be my half. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can definitely see a world where you just buy a ranch somewhere in Austin, and you've just got like 4-wheelers and Polaris Razors and Bobcats and dirt bikes.
I think a goal is like having a compound, right? Have like a little supercross track, maybe some trails, a little skate park would be sick as well. Pond to go fishing. Like I like my space, and you know, I'll do it all one day, man.
Dude, men are just the fucking easiest creatures to figure out. Like, it's just give me a farm, give me toys, and just let me do my shit.
A bonfire after 6 p.m., I'm good to go, man.
Just cook everything on fire. Yeah. Like we just eat meat. It's fucking pretty much the dream.
For sure.
So when was the cutoff point for the dirt bikes then, basically? Like, so you basically decide to go pro with the jiu-jitsu shit, and that was kind of it?
Yeah, so when I was like 20 years old, my brother and I were riding like pretty consistently, you know, every other weekend, at least 2-3 times a month, right? And at this time I'm working. I dropped out of college my freshman year, and I'm working as a bouncer a few nights a week. I'm also working at Home Depot, and I might have been doing something else as well, but working quite a few jobs. And then one of the bouncers were like, actually a few of the bouncers were training jiu-jitsu, and they kept telling me that how jiu-jitsu is better than wrestling. And I was like, this is impossible. Like I'll beat your ass. You know what I mean? So they challenged me to like go to their gym. I go over there, I train with them. They couldn't do anything to me. I like take them down, submit them with like, you know, like a shitty rear naked choke. I didn't have any technique, but I had athleticism and knowledge, but just by watching fighting and being a wrestler for since I was like 12, you know what I mean? And then soon after that, I started training every day, and by my second week of training, I enter like a local tournament at like at the open levels, which it could be white belts or black belts, whatever. And I beat everybody, some local brown belts and black belts. I scored like in the tournament, I scored like 80 something, 90 points. Yeah, like almost 90 points to 0. And I submitted most of my opponents to like, which was just really bad technique, but I'm explosive and I have an awareness, you know what I mean? And from there, I just continued to keep competing. And by about month 3, I get the invite to start training up in New York under John Danaher. For those of you that don't know, John Danaher is the GOAT of jiu-jitsu coaching, right? Yeah. He's a mastermind. He studies all aspects of the sports, and you know, he's developed really great athletes, including myself. So I get the invite to go train with him. But the problem is that I'm in South Jersey. He's in New York City in Manhattan. And it's about 2.5 hour drive, no traffic. With traffic, like 3 to 5 hours. So I decided to start driving up there consistently every day. It's like, so sometimes 6 to 8 hour round trip, and I needed gas money. You know what I mean? It's expensive. It was like I had to pay for gas. Like almost $50 in tolls a day. Parking every day was $50, and then food, and you know, I'm sure I'm missing something else. But yeah, so like $100 to $150 every day. And when I committed to jiu-jitsu, I completely quit all my jobs, and I just had this pretty bike sitting at my parents' house. I was like, all right, time to go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was just fully committed. So I sent it. I sold the bike. I think at the time it must have been like maybe like a 2016 YZ450, and granted, I probably had no business being on a 450, you know what I mean? But I'm like, oh, more power is always better, which is absolutely not correct. But yeah, I sold that. I got a couple bucks, and that helped me out for you know, maybe a couple months, and until I was able to figure out, you know, another stream of income to continue to train consistently. So that was kind of a sad point, you know, letting the bike go, but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason, and I knew in my heart that this is something I needed to do. So I kept driving up to North Jersey. Right, I pretty much at the time I started, I have like 12 months until the 80cc World Championships, right? For those of you that don't know, 80cc World Championships is the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Comes around every 2 years. There's Olympic trials in every country, most countries, you know what I mean, or around the world, and you got to win the trials to make it to the Olympics. So I ended up winning the trials at like maybe 8 months of training, and then a few months later, I have the 80cc Worlds, and you know, I really needed to like have success at the Worlds so I can make money. You know, like I'm spending right now, I'm like $9,000 or $10,000 in like credit card debt, like just from the simple travel. You know what I mean? It's expensive to travel. So I end up in my first year, I end up like taking second at Worlds, and boom, I go viral a bunch. I'm able to get sponsors, make money competing in matches, and pretty much immediately after that, I got an apartment up in North Jersey, and I was able to. I chopped down my travel time from like 6 hours to 15 minutes, which was absolutely incredible. And it's pretty much the same price. It was like, you know, monthly I was paying like you know, over $2,000 in travel.
Yeah, but you were just saving the time, and you're spending the same amount of money but saving the time.
Exactly. So it was definitely a blessing to be able to move up there and train so close, and yeah, just continue to improve, man.
Dude, it's such a sick story, and I just love the dirt bike side of it too. You know, like, and I've obviously been a big fan of you since you started, and it's weird to be doing jiu-jitsu longer than somebody like you, but I was probably doing it for maybe a year before you started, and then so I'm doing my thing, and you just exploded on the scene, and it was crazy. Like the story you're telling, I watched it on the other side of the world just as a fan and just as a dude, doing jiu-jitsu and like you go into the gym and it's like, did you see this fucking Nicky Rod guy at trials? And so it's so sick to be just a fan. And then how we started talking was just through Instagram, and I saw that you liked bikes, and I was like, that's so crazy that this dude comes from like a moto background. And then to hear that you literally sell your pride and joy to fund your jiu-jitsu career and then it pay off the way that it did. It's a sick story.
Yeah, pretty sick, man. I think riding is like a just a great way to like kind of forget about the world, you know what I mean? Like it gives you like, you have to hyper focus. Like it's not about, like for me, like when I'm riding trails and I guess even on the track, you have to just focus like what's coming up, what's next, you know what I mean, right away. You're not thinking about your fucking bills or like anything else. It's just like you gotta.
And it's forced upon you.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have a choice. Like once you're out there, you're in that zone.
Yeah.
Or you crash. And if your body's naturally trying to not die, so it just kind of like forces you in that zone, and you can stay in there, you know?
For sure. So you got the chance to see me ride, right? I would like you to rate my riding from white belt to black belt.
Easily a blue belt.
Blue belt, right?
I would have given you some stripes yesterday.
Okay.
I actually would have. I should have fucking put some.
That would have been so funny.
Yeah.
I would have rode a few laps with the belt on, blue belt on.
I would say, yeah, blue belt ability. You were jumping stuff as well, and just you're a natural athlete. Like that's very clear. Like anyone that watches you do jiu-jitsu, but even moto, like it was cool too because you were kind of apprehensive, a bit nervous, obviously didn't want to get hurt with everything that you've got going on. And then you're even like, oh, could we just do trails, or, you know, like maybe go somewhere else? And so there was you're obviously like intimidated to a degree, which is to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
But from like sending a text being like, oh, you know, like, should we just ride trails, to then just doing laps on the main track of Glen Helen, like it's a pretty sick spread of, you know, where even you thought you were at to where you actually were at. And then, yeah, a couple of tips, a couple pointers, literally like, I basically just said you got to move up on the seat so that in the corners, so that you put more weight on the front. It'll stop your front pushing away from you. And then the other thing was just like lean into the jump more to compensate. And then you were just jumping literally everything on the vet track. And you were even jumping like the doubles before the start straight at Glen Helen, which that's technical.
Yeah. I like a good little double. It's like safe enough, you know what I mean? You can like overshoot it and not go too crazy. But like I'm hitting the doubles and the pros are making it a quad. I'm like, oh shit. All right. It's pretty sick.
There's levels.
Yeah. Dude, I'm happy. I did a whole lap on Glen Helen without falling, you know? So that was good. First 2 laps took a light spill, and the third one I was like, you know, a bit more conservative, but I got it done.
What was the comparison between the big track and the vet track? Like how much different was it for you?
So what's it called? Vet track and
just main track.
Main track.
Guess, yeah.
Okay, so the main track is so much faster. Like even from a visual standpoint, everything's very, very wide and lengthy. But then you come around like you have a steep uphill, and then you come around a corner, and it just like sends you like fucking 90 degrees down, and you're looking at this wide open track, and you think you're supposed to be going fast. Then right at the bottom, you have like a little tabletop in a corner, and you just carry so much speed in that track. That's insane, man. It's like I can't even, like, these guys are probably ripping like 3rd or 4th gear going down. Like, bro, I'm in neutral. You know what I mean? I'm cruising. It's intense, man. And then like, you know, even leading into the corners, you have all these bumps and ruts, and it's kind of like it's like instinctively you want to like stay tight on the bike, but you just gotta let that thing ride and catch a rut and ride it on through. So, you know, it's like, for me, I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to my jiu-jitsu, so that kind of transfers a little bit to when I'm riding. I would like want to be in control, but bro, that sometimes a bike rides you, bro. It's true.
I will say though, like the way that you were able to take on board some technique and then just keep, like, you just stayed out there. Like, we rode pretty much all day. Like, we came in for a couple of drinks.
Yeah, I probably killed the whole gas tank at least.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you want to take a break or whatever? And you're like, no, I'll do a couple more laps. I'm like, all right, respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were able to take the technique advice, and then you're able to just apply it, which that obviously there's just like some natural ability there. And it's like the same thing in jiu-jitsu, you know, like to do 80cc trial. Was it 8 months?
Yeah, one trial was at 8 months, and took second at Worlds at about 14 months.
And I mean, there's so much information to pack into your brain at that point, you know, and there's so much technical advice that you've got to take on. So it's just was really cool to see like that level of ability that you've got in that, you know, part of your life to then just transfer it straight to moto. Was sick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was great to get some advice from somebody who knows what they're doing, because like even to like learn to jump, I was just watching like YouTube videos. Like I kind of like grasp like, oh, you know, keep your knee kind of tight, like position of the foot. But like I also missed some stuff, like how you were saying, you know, lean your body weight over the handlebars or close to it, and that, you know, kind of stops the kickback of the picking the front wheel up and whatnot. And even like, you know, you're talking about me cornering, but like sitting high up on the seat makes such a big difference. Even the simple thing of like pointing your toes inward as opposed to outward, like I felt all the difference hugging the corner when I was going through.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And I never really cared that much about technique in the same way that I do now until I started jiu-jitsu. So
It's everything.
Well, yeah, because I knew nothing. Like I went in, same as you know, fucking nothing. I'd watch UFC forever. And then there is just so many details and there's so much that you need to learn and then drill. And I started, when I was like really studying jiu-jitsu, I started just to look for concepts instead of just techniques. And then like, so one of the concepts is just like, you know, underhooks is a really good concept. And like when you're passing, like if someone's bottom of their feet is pointed towards you, like you basically can't put any weight on them and you have to redirect it. If they aren't facing you, then you can put weight. So there's just like all these little things I'd like use in my mind as concepts. And then once I was really riding moto again, I was like, fuck, what are the concepts?
Yeah.
Like what are the concepts in moto? And I just started watching all these videos on YouTube. And then one of the ones that I told you yesterday is like how your kneecap can't go past your front arch of your foot. And it's like, that is just it's so easy to teach like a white belt motocross rider that technique. And it's like, if you just have that simple thought in your head, it's like, you almost don't need the technique. You just need that like concept. And it's the same with like the bike on the jump. So it's all of that come from understanding how important it is in jiu-jitsu, and I was able to like kind of apply it. So it's kind of cool. I
think that's an important aspect. Like for me, when I'm trying to get better at jiu-jitsu, I think I kind of get introspective. I'm like, I look at myself and I'm like, if I was to beat myself, how would I do it? And I kind of fill in the gaps from there. And I'm sure the best motocross riders probably do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think as well, in jiu-jitsu, you're taught to drill and you're taught to do specific training rounds, and it's such a structured way of learning the sport. And it does work. I think that you've got to kind of go outside of that structure as well. But in moto, bro, I just used to fucking go to the track, suck, come off the track, wonder why it sucked, have a drink, go back, suck even worse, like repeat the fucking process.
Yeah.
And yeah, like an actual training in something else that was very technique based. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the moto track and only do like a flow roll essentially and like work on specific things. And then I spent just all year working on technique, a couple months working on, or a month or two working on like going faster. And I got so much better at riding in a year.
Yeah. If you were a young kid you're like, motocross is what I want to do in life, who are you watching?
Jet Lawrence.
Jet Lawrence,
Yeah.
No, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, he's so perfectly on display with technique. Deegan has amazing technique as well, but he's down to operate outside the box. He's down to put a bit of spice on it, so you can get like lost in the sauce in a way. Like if you watch him and then you thinking you need to do extra than what you actually do.
Yeah.
Whereas Jet is just like very just up and down. Just
does he? Is it considered like what he does like the basics technique? Does he do the basics really good, or does he have like advanced technique? Like he does different stuff when he's riding.
everything,
Everything, huh?
like literally everything. But his his just basic technique, like you could pause. This is how you should be able to tell if you've got good technique, is you should be able to just pause a video of you riding at any time, and you're there's just like boxes that you need to be within. It's like you could draw a box around your hips, you could draw a box around your head, you could draw a box around your feet, you could draw a box around your feet at the mud guard, and if you could pause a shot and like draw those boxes, and everything would be in the right spot. But then like there's some clips, I don't know, you've commented on a couple things I've posted, but there's this one clip of Jet at Millville, and he does this jump, and he's like whipping a little bit. Oh no, it looks like he's going to case it. So then he just tilts his bike a little bit, and then he puts it back, and it is like literally perfect.
Really?
It was not one wheel out of place. It was fucking retarded.
Would that be considered like like he made a mistake, so he saved it, or he was just on it the whole time?
Dude, who knows?
Who knows?
Man?
Yeah,
like he's just that freakish in that way, to where it's like he just knows exactly where to put the bike. He knows every part of it. He's like, it's full on. Did you yesterday? This Red Bull video come out with those two brothers, and we did like a skills challenge, and it's fucking insane. So one of the challenges was like a distance jumping. So we literally wrote on a pit board 45 feet, and there was like these lines, look like a gridiron kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they had to jump with their rear tire on the number, like just like a golf, shot challenge. Bro, he was within like 2 feet.
Damn.
So you hold out a pit board on the run up to the jump, and it'll be like 55, 60, whatever. And then he just jumped that far to within like 2 feet.
Wow, that's impressive.
Insane, dude.
Yeah.
So just that crazy level of technique.
There's brothers, right? Hunter and Lawrence. Yeah. Is there a substantial skill difference between the two?
No, I think it's more. I think it's just more physical. Like I think Jet is just physically more gifted than Hunter is. And there's a part in that video too where Jet is, they had like an Olympic tennis player, and it was just basically smashing serves at him like as fast as he could. And there's a fucking shot of Jet fully outstretched, like toes on the ground, all the way outstretched, like just full blown fast twitch muscle fibers on display. So I honestly think that's just it. Like I think genetically he's just a bit superior in that way,
Yeah, that's sick. I rode I did some motocross laps towards the end of maybe like 6 years ago, right? Kind of right before I got into jiu-jitsu. And going from trail riding, which is relatively safe, right, to a motocross track, I would see these young kids get like knocked out on the track, and I was like, damn, this is practice. Like, you're not even in a race, you know what I mean? They're training like this. So quite intense. Kind of discouraged me from trying any serious moto sessions.
Well, my wife, she fully doesn't get it. She's just like, this is actually fucking insane. Like the level that you can get hurt for literally nothing. But it's just one of those sports that once you've been doing it forever, it's just, I don't know, it's like it's in your blood. But dude, I think the same thing, man. I'm like, fuck, this is gnarly.
Yeah. You ever rode in New Jersey? Any motos out there?
But there is the sickest scene out there. Yeah. Like there actually is epic tracks, epic riders, like, and they've got there's a crew of boys. I'm trying to think if they like call themselves anything, just if you remember, but anyway, they ride in like all these sand quarries, and like they're just like hard fucking like they're like Massachusetts crew, so just like that old school fucking Boston vibe, and they just fully rip, bro.
I see.
I need to get out. I need to get out there.
Jersey, they got some good trails, some tracks here and there. Comes and goes.
Yeah, and there's plenty of fast riders from there, like Jason Lawrence. Yeah, from out there, Justin Barsha. That's your boy. I feel like you and Barsha would get along pretty well.
Maybe I like his attitude. He's quite aggressive. Is there any deductions or penalties for like contact?
Nah.
No, huh?
Nah, they can get gnarly with it if it's like really bad. Yeah. The thing that gets them is retaliation. So like that's when you'll get in trouble.
Like what prevents somebody from just like kicking you off a bike when they're next to you?
Nothing,
huh? You just put a leg out if you want.
Yeah, guys do it, eh?
Yeah, really.
Like there's been some fucking big
big shots taken. Like last year, especially at the start of the season, the dudes were fucking going for it, man. Like, it was insane.
Damn,
There was some like legit clean outs. But yeah, they don't get in trouble. And the only time you'll get in trouble, I remember, I think Chad Reed got black flagged once because Kennard took him out. And then he just got up, cut the track, and just fucking cleaned the dude out. So that I think they black flagged him for that. But it's pretty much like open season, which is fucking gnarly.
That's pretty gnarly, yeah. Is there I remember yesterday you said something like only like 4 people win the season uninjured.
Yeah.
That's a terrible rate.
It's a terrible statistic.
Yeah.
Can you imagine ADCC goes down and only 4 people get through all their matches uninjured?
And it's not like there's only a few riders. Like there's quite a bit of guys that get on the track. Yeah.
Yeah. I think just the bikes are so fast now. There's so much torque and they're going so fast and the skill level's so high that even when the tracks are just completely destroyed, like there'd be stuff, like if I kept riding Glen Helen yesterday, there's probably stuff that I'd stop doing, if that makes sense, because it started getting so rough. Like there's, you got the finish line jump and the big track and then the little tabletop and then you go right before the triple thing that the guys are doing. That up ramp there gets so fucked that there's a point where I just stop jumping it.
Really,
and you're kind of like rolling it, basically, just making sure that you do not get kicked over the handlebars.
Yeah.
But the guys that are good don't give a fuck. And they just keep going and going. And no matter how bad the track gets, no matter how bad the whoops get, they just still fucking send it.
It's kind of interesting. It's almost hard to comprehend how somebody's able to hit some of the jumps. So like when you see the lip of a ramp towards the end of the race, and it's so deeply rutted. I'm like, I can't comprehend it. Even like staying straight, sending it off the top of this thing.
Oh, and then like you said, then you've got 4 dudes either side of you.
Yeah.
And you're 20 minutes in, your forearms are fucked. So the level, it's so hard to get across to people how gnarly it is, what they're actually doing. And for everybody else, you just go, okay, I can't jump that. Like, that's what I do. I'm like, okay, now I don't jump that jump. Let's go. The rut's too big, it's too gnarly, and I'm not gnarly enough. And those guys, no. There's no ceiling to how fucking gnarly those dudes are and the lengths that they're willing to go. And I mean, a win, dude, is probably worth, like, when Jet crosses the finish line and wins a Supercross 450 race, like he's probably making nearly 200 grand.
Yeah.
And then he does that the next weekend. And then he does that the next weekend. And then so that's a lot of cheese on the line. And these boys are just fucking down.
What do you think, like something like the Lawrence Bros, what's their training regimen like? Because for me as a jiu-jitsu athlete, like I know what I do. I do jiu-jitsu every day, 7 days a week, and I lift practically every day as well. If not six times a week. And I just do that consistently. Like it's what I'm accustomed to. But I'm very curious to like, the highest level motocross guys, like what's their routine like?
So you'd pretty much have Sunday would be a travel day, like this. So this is in season. Monday, I'm pretty sure they would be on the bike. They'd probably ride 2 to 3 times a week in season, and then it'd be gym basically on the days that they'd ride. They might have like 1 day off with like some active recovery, stretching, like light gym workout. But dude, it's pretty much ride, train. Like, so you're doing 2 days basically, having some strategic days off, and then you've got travel days. But then in the off season, they do like gnarly boot camps where they'll, like this time right now is just grind, like long ass cycle bike rides, 2 hours, and then they'd be riding and then in the gym. So yeah, probably 3 days in the off season. But a big thing with moto that jiu-jitsu doesn't have is you've kind of, I'd be interested to get your take on this. Have you ever worn like heart rate monitors and stuff when you've trained or?
I've worn it for hard cardio sessions, but not necessarily jiu-jitsu training.
I'd be interested to see what your heart rate did in like a good 10-minute like a 10-minute roll or like a hard, or if you do 20 or 30, whatever.
I know how much water I lose. Like I could lose probably in a 10-minute roll like two plus pounds of water if I'm at peak. You know what I mean? If I'm going at it. But like in a session, I could lose in like an hour training session. I can lose like 5 to 8 pounds of water depending how hard I'm pressing.
Are you drinking a fuck ton of water then? Because even yesterday you drank a lot of water.
Yeah, most days I do a gallon and at minimum, and then plus a ton of electrolytes. Like I do a liquid IV, or a lot of times I like something more salty. So I'll take a scoop of dry powder Gatorade, and I'll add half a teaspoon of good salt, like some Celtic salt to it, which is like 1,200 milligrams, and I'll have like 1 or 2 of those a day, like around my training sessions. For me, sodium is like huge. Is absolutely huge. It's not only good for the body, it's also good for the brain as well. Yeah. They say like you need good amount of healthy salts to like for just to be cognitively sharp.
Yeah. So with moto, you basically know the zones you're in heart rate wise, so they can actually, because it's so consistent, like you're kind of in a max effort for 30 minutes, right? So they can tell what heart rate zones that they're in. So they'll do a specific set of training. So that's why they all road cycle so much, because you can elevate your heart rate to like a zone fucking whatever 4 or 5, and then you can keep that zone, and then you can basically manage the power ratio that you're putting into the pedals with the zone, and you just like, the trainer basically says like, hey, this is where you have to live. And it's just suffer the fuck out of it now until you hit these numbers basically. So that's one of the big things that a lot of the guys do.
If I was doing a cycle, I feel like I would get something for the handlebars to like vibrate or force arm pump. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that'd be a great advantage just to be able to deal with the worst arm pump while you're doing this intense cardio.
Well, I think they do a lot of like they'll get handlebars that have kind of like balls on the bottom of them, and you're doing like push-ups and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
But man, jiu-jitsu fully helped arm pump for me. Yeah. Like jiu-jitsu and technique. And then when I trained in Vegas the other day, because I haven't been rolling much while I was doing the World Vets thing, and I literally had that motherfucker's sleeve grip for like 4 minutes, eh? And he was looking at my hand like, what the fuck is going on? And so I think it kind of actually goes both ways. Like I've done so much moto over this year that, like grip strength was fucking insane. But for jiu-jitsu, it definitely helped the arm pump as well.
For sure. Like when I was, I'm really known for this passing style called body lock passing, and I saw
it's called Roddy lock.
Roddy lock, yeah, exactly. Yeah, for the Roddy lock passing, I saw instructionals and whatnot on it, but it really helped my forearm like growth. Like I remember when my brother started jiu-jitsu as well, that's like one of the first things I showed him is the body lock pass. And like nowadays I have like 30 or 40 pounds on him, but our forearms are like the same size. Fucking rock solid, bro. Because you're just like, you're attached to this guy, and like before you learn really good technique, you're just like squeezing and pulling the whole time. Yeah. And eventually you understand like body positioning, and it takes less effort and more because you're more technical. And bro, it kills your forearms at first, man. So I mean, I get my own version of arm pump,
Yeah, I was saying yesterday that time in Thailand when I went and did that camp, bro, like 5 months into jiu-jitsu, 7 days of like 2-a-day training sessions, and I was going home doing the ice bath every single day. But it definitely helped, like the moto for sure.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's funny how you say jiu-jitsu helps the moto in the technical aspect, because I feel like a lot of times you just like people just get caught in this rhythm and they don't actually like observe themselves. Like it's important to look at yourself and see like what you're doing, because like it's great to have great reactions, but if you want to improve those reactions, you really have to like kind of mentally think about it. So like when I like nowadays I coach like twice a week at my gym along with my teammates. We all coach about twice a week, and like coaching helps me like break down the moves like mentally, because I'm so used to just like reacting. I have this awesome reactions that I'm always trying to implement, but then once I slow it down, it's like, oh, maybe I could be doing this a little bit better, like put my foot here, grab his hand this way. So I respect a man that could just like kind of like really look at themselves and like, okay, I do have these reactions, but also I also have room for improvement.
Oh, dude, I look at my whole life as a project.
Yeah.
And that's what makes my life kind of fun. And you know, the podcast is a project. It's never good. Not like everything in this room sucks right now. There's a fucking 100 things that I need to do better. I'm behind on this. It's just, I could do better. Motocross, I'm fucking terrible at that. Like, I could do so much better. And then jiu-jitsu, like I've picked these lanes in my life that I want to do good at. And it just, everything's a fucking project at that point, you know? And it's, for me, going to the track and trying to get better. Like, even yesterday, there was a bunch of parts on the vet track where I was just fully working on technique the whole time. Like, the way we were pulling off the track, there's like those two inside ruts there.
Yeah.
It's like, I know one of my things for me to go faster on a bike, I need to get more comfortable leaning more. So, and that corner was so shit to lean.
Yeah, because
it was
like a flat turns are terrible.
Yeah, and it had like this tiny little rut, like rocks in it, and that's really hard to lean, right? So yeah, yesterday I was just pointing my toe in, staying like square, like leaning comfortably, smooth throttle, and that's fun to me. Like, I just don't see the point of going out and just burning mindless laps, fully cooking yourself, and then almost having like nothing to show for it in a sense.
Yeah, I kind of liked how you were like, you chose a certain part of the track and you would complete it and then cut the track, come back around and do it a few times. That's something I've never done, but I would definitely like to implement it, because like, you know, like on the vet track, you had this section of like 3 tabletops in a row, and like to get good at it, I don't see why you wouldn't just do that section until you're like almost have it perfect, and then move on to the later section.
Oh, for sure. And dude, that's just a specific round.
A specific round, yeah, it's a positional round.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just the same. It's copying that same philosophy of like, okay, I'm just gonna have a dude on my back for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably gonna get choked 50 times.
Yeah.
But you just learn to, like you said, be comfortable in those positions and play in those positions. But yeah, because there's so much. It's just basic shit that works in every sport, you know, like the dudes with the most solid fundamentals. Like, I don't know if you watch Mason's round on the weekend, but or his match, but it was just like the most basic shit. Like, he fucking Americana to do. It's like, you literally learn that the first day you do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's an infinite amount of details in the most basic shit. And it's like, you can just get lost in it forever.
That's very true, very true. Yeah, Mason Fowler had a pretty good match. Shout out to UFC Fight Pass, man, because they're really honestly helping our sport grow. And you know, we're doing our part as athletes, but like to have somebody like UFC involved in jiu-jitsu is just going to elevate the game tremendously. So huge respect.
It was awesome, man. Like, I've never been to a UFC like actual card, so I'm assuming it's much better and different. But as far as the jiu-jitsu event goes, like, I've been to a lot of those, and it was fucking cool. Like, we got in super small. Like, it was, I don't know, like, you kind of almost felt cool being there. Like, it was so small in a sense. But yeah, like, really good TV, really good production. The matches were awesome. The negative points, bro, game changer.
Yeah.
Absolute.
You have to be offensive the whole time.
Dude, and even from the bottom, like, because you can definitely lay down and not get submitted.
Yeah.
Like, that is, if you're a black belt, like, that's something
like,
that's something you can, and you've probably practiced it a lot. But there just wasn't a fucking option. And so many submissions come off the back of guys getting like negative point after negative point. Because that's one of the shit parts about jiu-jitsu, is that there's definitely a lot of like stalling and disengagement.
Playing the rules and whatnot.
Yeah.
Dude, yesterday you put me on the Stark
Yes.
motors. All right. I was first of all, I was intimidated by this bike, right? First off, just it looks like it just looks different than a bike, you know what I mean? And then you go to turn it on, no noise. No, like, I'm like, is this thing running, right? You hit the gas and it's like sneaky power, a bit silent but deadly, right? Like, and it's like mountain bike brakes, kind of, right? So like, I remember, you know, the first couple of laps, it's like it's too easy to go too fast on that bike. The power comes in, like, when you're on a regular dirt bike, you're listening to the engine, you're feeling it. So like you kind of when things are coming. This thing's just it's always in the power band.
It's always on.
It's always in the power band. It's always on. It's very interesting to ride. It was messing me up a little bit because I'm so used to the clutch and the foot brake being the back brake, and like I'm sliding in the corners. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm really like it's kind of boggling my brain a little bit, but I felt like it rode really good. I think I was anticipating it to be like a
bit heavy and awkward kind of thing.
Yeah, like not so well balanced, but like even in the air, it felt really good. So maybe it has a future on the motocross track. You never know.
Dude, honestly, like I got that thing a week before. So I'd been training for this race for a whole year, right?
Yeah.
And I had built like the sickest 350, all like factory suspension. It was fucking mint. And then the guys from Stark were like, hey, we got your bike if you can race it. Because I sort of said right at the start of the year, I'd love to race it on a Stark. And then I was like, well, it's not happening. I don't have one. I got the thing on the fucking Tuesday before the race, and I was just instantly faster on it. And I was like, motherfucker, like I definitely have to race this. And I chucked so yesterday the tire was pretty fried, right? And for the race, I had a brand new like Dunlop scoop tire. So it's like going up the hills, bro. I was literally in the race, and I was just behind some dudes, and I'm going, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to wait to the hill. And I just made sure I was behind them going up the hill. And I would just pass like 2-3 people up the hill every single time I went up it. It was insane.
You think it's equal to like a 450 or more powerful?
More power than a 450.
That's so insane, dude.
I don't know what, because the display screen wasn't working, or like I just didn't hook it up when you rode it. But I rode it and I was like, oh, okay, it must have been like 45 horsepower or something when you rode it.
That was plenty.
It's got 80, bro.
You got 80. Dude, that is plenty. It's so like, I don't know, it just sneaks up on you because like I said, you're used to hearing the engine and it's just silent, like a little RC car. But man, that thing rips, bro.
I as much as I love that bike, I really respected when you did like 2 laps on it and you went, I want to ride the 250. Yeah, I was like, my man,
dude. It's something about like hearing that combustion engine.
Yeah, you're a fucking man, you know.
Yeah,
you want that shit. Yeah. I was waiting for you to ask for the 450.
No, I'm good, bro. I've had my time. I whenever I bought like a bike by myself, it was a 450, and I just understand the power too much. I'm like, I will do this thing dirty, like I don't deserve to be on this 450. You know what I mean? For me, a guy like me, I'll only get the most out of it of like a straightaway. You know what I mean? But to be on a track, it's just so unnecessary. Even like a 250, as heavy as I am, that thing will pull me out of second gear, no problem. You know what I mean? So, 450 is just it's a fucking beast, man. It's a dragon you're riding, you know?
Dude, I've been saying for years, like literally the whole Church of 350 thing, like I'm almost can't ride a 450 basically. Like that's how hard I fucking rode that donkey. But that Yamaha 450 is so much fun. Like yesterday, I was just living the dream. It's like you remember in MotoGP when Ducati was like, they just had this crazy engine and they didn't really turn that good, but just on the straights, they just eat everybody.
Yeah.
It feels like it has that kind of motor, but the bike actually does turn good as well. But it's that's a unique motor in motorcycle.
Do you think that like the ergonomics of it is different from the 250, like substantially?
No, I think it's very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, super similar. But so those bikes, on a normal bike, right? You got the seat, you got the rear mudguard, you got the front mudguard. Normally, the air filter's back here, right?
Yeah.
And then the air gets sucked into the engine, and then it goes out the exhaust and back around. The Yamaha literally flipped the head around. The air comes like from where the fuel tank on a normal bike is, basically, gets sucked straight down into the motor and then just straight out the back. So they've got this fully unique motor design, and it sucked for years. Like they just couldn't. Like you remember James won his championship, the last championships he won on the Yamaha, and then he went on to the new JGR Yamaha, and he just fucking cartwheeled the thing. Like it just spat him off everywhere. So that was them doing that, like they just didn't get the motor right. And now, dude, I mean, 10 years later, they've just fully fucking nailed it. And that bike is actually an animal.
They figured it out, huh?
Oh, yeah. And I always felt like the sickest dude in the world yesterday, right? Even though I wasn't.
Yeah. I realized that I don't need a 450 when like there was back in the day, I bought a 2016 YZ250, like a 2-stroke, and for trail riding, it's so much more nimble,
Just nimble and light, yeah.
And you could it's just so fun to stay in the power band. You just hear that thing screaming down the trails. It's like they know you're coming. That they also hear you going. You know what I mean? but yeah, I like. It's hard for me to imagine ever getting the most out of a 450. So I tried my best to stay in my lane. You know what I mean?
So what would you buy? You'd get a Yamaha 250 4-stroke or 2-stroke?
No, I go 4-stroke just because of the maintenance.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy the 2-strokes. I think it sounds great. It's funner to ride because like the way the power band just picks you up. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's like a I know they're kind of left in the past, but 2-strokes are, even the smell is different, you know? I'd prefer to, if I had a mechanic, I'd ride 2-stroke, but I'm not playing with no carburetors or, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Gas it. I'm not mixing gas, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd go 250 4-stroke. And I'd probably get 2 of those, one for me and the little bro, and we'd go ride. I feel like I'm probably just going to go buy some bikes once I get back to Austin. Now, you guys geared me up. Shout out Alpine Stars, you know what I mean? So I might as well hop back on. I'm just going to play it safe, though. I'm going to either hit local tracks or we have like a Metropolitan Park, which is like a trail that everybody can go ride. And I'll probably just do my best to stay on the ground. I can, like you said, I can jump blue belt, but I'm probably slightly better on the trails on the ground, so I'm going to probably stick with that.
Well, if you listen to this podcast and you live in Austin, that's where Nicky's from. So if you're a moto person and you're from Austin or near Austin, send him a DM, get him hooked up on the tracks. We need some nice, loamy, prepped, soft, no big jumps, so that the boys can come out and just get their freak on.
Let's go ride. Stay safe together.
Let's go ride and come back home.
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon there'd be like a ton of people that would definitely take you riding.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. I'm sure that we got some guys that have like ranches as well. Probably got their own private tracks. There's good money out there in Austin. You know?
That's what I mean. There's someone listening that's like, dude, I got the perfect track for you, bro. Yeah, and just get a couple of 250s. What, have you got a truck?
Yeah, I got an F-150 at home.
Oh, sick. Bro, you're there,
bro.
There was a guy. Sure. There was a guy that commented on your post from Walter's Mercedes yesterday, and I literally DM'd him because I'm trying to buy a Sprinter. He's like trying to sell you a Sprinter yesterday. That's sick. And I'm like, hey, I kind of need to get a Sprinter too, bro.
Yeah, I bought the F-150 because I always knew I was going to be
you have to
riding.
In Austin, right?
Yeah, you need a truck in Texas, and also we're riding mountain bikes for a little bit because like I had the perception that it'd be safer than being on dirt bikes.
I don't think they are, dude.
No, they're not safer. It's also to have the same amount of fun on a dirt bike, like on the ground. You probably need to be jumping on a mountain bike to have that same like adrenaline rush. So my brother and I bought mountain bikes, like a couple of treks, and we were happily shredding trails safely for like a couple of weeks, and then my brother pulls up to a jump, like a pretty like a step down, and he's like, you gonna jump? I'm like, nah, bro, like I'm a professional athlete, I'm good, I'm not interested. He's like, I'm doing it. I was like, you shouldn't. And then before you know it, he jumps. I'm like, fuck it, all right, can't let him outdo me. I jump, and then every time we rode after that, we start jumping, and then fast forward like 3 weeks, he fucking shatters his collarbone on a very simple tabletop. He just like kind of over jumps it and gets sideways a little bit, and the ground is hard.
Oh yeah,
the ground is hard. So I was like, all right, maybe we'll go back to dirt bikes. Keep what we're good at. We've never really been. We don't really like go too crazy on the bike, so we stay pretty safe on the dirt bike. So maybe just stick with that.
The mountain bikes are just so unassuming. You just look at it and you're like, it's just a fucking bike. Like how hard?
Yeah.
But on a dirt bike, you're like, that there's some complexity.
You respect it.
You have to. There has to be respect.
Yeah.
Mountain bike, you're just like, fuck this little thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're good.
Yep, for sure. And they're pretty advanced now. You know, everything's got like really good like Fox suspension and front and back. But
what bikes did you get?
Yeah, I had a Trek Slash, and my brother has like a Trek, like almost the equivalent, but not the downhill. Like Slash is like downhill, and some other shit. But yeah, expensive bikes. Like mine was like 3, his was like 2,500. Yeah, so good bikes.
Yeah, that I've been fucked up riding mountain bikes.
Yeah,
like it's so easy for that shit to go wrong.
I'd be at the store, like, you know, looking at helmets and shit, and I just ask around, like you guys stay pretty safe on this, and like everybody's, I broke a collarbone, an elbow, like I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. Yeah, everybody's a little banged up.
Have you run the clips? Do you ever run the clip pedals?
No, just flat pedals.
Can you imagine that shit?
No, I don't want to be stuck on anything,
Dude,
bro.
I used to race downhill mountain bikes with clipped in fucking pedals.
Oh,
the dumbest shit of all time, bro.
That's scary, bro. No, I go a pair of Vans and flat pedals. I'm sticking with it, bro.
You want to be able to eject.
Yeah, yeah.
I just need that fucking...
Dude, yeah, for sure. Ejecting, yeah. Yeah, fuck. I've been in some sticky situations, like jumping in Jersey. We have this track called like Field of Dreams. It's in Millville, New Jersey, and it's just like decent local track. But when I was like kind of learning the basics of jumping, I'd always give it too much throttle off the lip, and my front wheel, I'd just be like fucking facing the moon, and I'd be like grabbing the clutch, stomping on the back brake, trying to get her down, and like you land and the engine shuts off, and then fucking
and then you're going again.
Then you're going again. Yeah, so had some learning to do, but I think God was looking over me because I was like very close to getting injured.
Who were like the influences that you had back then in moto?
Yeah, honestly, I watched a lot of Bubba versus Carmichael. I like that rivalry.
Who were you team? Were you team RC or team Bubba?
I mean, RC was better, right? But you can't deny, like, I remember watching Bubba jump over you remember that wall he just fucking cleared?
Yeah.
Like that's insane, bro. You would see him race, and either he would win or he would get knocked out. That's the only way it would end it. And bro, anybody that can fully commit to every race, he was like, either I'm gonna die or I'm gonna fucking win. I fully respect that, man. So it's hard for me to pick sides. But fuck, man, just a good rivalry is what the sports need. You know what I mean? And then also I like Barsha. He was riding Yamaha for a while. I'm a Yamaha guy, so I respect that.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's so true about James, but like the way you describe it is so just bang on accurate.
Yeah.
Like it's like that fucking song "Ready to Die."
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just play Biggie, James Stewart, "Ready to Die."
Yeah.
Like that's a fucking video that needs to get made because he would just absolutely send it.
Yeah. I watched one of his older clips. He was like almost dead last and ended up winning the race.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing.
Budds Creek 2004.
Yeah.
And he was on a 125 and everyone else was pretty much on 250s.
Damn,
and he just fucking sent that thing. I think in like one lap he'd almost passed half the field.
That's crazy. But like that's where like athleticism plays a part, right? Like, it's you see a lot of these guys, like they might be unassuming but pretty athletic. You got to be quite athletic to be able to maneuver your body and have the timing and the mental acuity to stay attached to that thing, man.
Oh yeah. And the thing that I respect so much because I don't have it is just like the fucking want.
The one, yeah. Not everybody's got that, bro.
No, I just don't. Fuck, like I can sit there and say like I want to be good at motocross, but like, do I?
Yeah.
Like, how much do I want to be good at that sport? Because like I just don't know that I'm prepared. Well, I do know that I'm not prepared to do some of that shit.
Yeah, I honestly I found that very soon when my first couple of times at a track, I would see guys like really flying through the air and then like have severe consequences, like leaving on a stretcher. I'm like, I'm good. Like I'll stick with what I know.
But do you think that's just a matter of like you just incrementally get better over such a long period of time? Like, do you think that because you're a pretty good case of this, right? Like anyone could look at your career and be like, what the fuck's like the most talented person of all time? But then do you view it as talent, or is there just like this crazy amount of work that's gone in that people don't see, you know?
Well, I definitely like, in order to do what I've done, you have to have God-given attributes, right?
Massive dick.
That definitely helps, for sure helps. I have, quality attributes. Like, I had an amazing frame. Also, something that I've done that really not many other people have done is after my last match in wrestling in high school, right? I lost like in the state tournament, and in my opinion, I lost because I was like substantially weaker. So I was wrestling at like 170 pounds and was cutting from like maybe 185. And right immediately after I go home that night, I watched the movie Pain and Gain with The Rock and Mark Wahlberg. And I'm like,
You fucking did that.
yeah, I'm like, I'm going to lift some fucking weights, right? So I start going on YouTube and watching all these influencers and bodybuilders, and I start lifting weights the day after that match, and I continued to lift weights like as a bodybuilder for the next 7 to 8 years. But within the first 6 months, dude, I blew up. I went from cutting to like cutting from 185. So maybe after wrestling season, I'm like 190. But then I blew up to like 215 ish, and all from eating my body weight in protein every single day and lifting hard. And I was like 17 years old, so my body was it was ready to grow. You know what I mean? So I continued to lift like that style for the next like 7 years or so. So I like bulletproof my body. I put on a lot of muscle, and it's natural muscle. Like you see a lot of guys in the sport of jiu-jitsu that abuse PEDs, and they blow up when they compete. They gain like 40 pounds, and then immediately after their competition, you look at them a month later and they're like this small, skinny, scrawny guy again. So what I did is I put the work in, I put the consistency in, and I was able to build a body that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't have these like ups and downs in trains. I'm very consistent with my food, with my exercise, both in the gym and both on the mats and in the gym. And what I'm also very consistent about is my sleep. Yeah. Every day I make sure I get
massive,
dude.
bro.
Sleep. If you're a natural athlete, sleep is the steroid. So I make sure I'm laying in bed like 10 hours to get 8 hours. In addition, I do some things to help my sleep. Like I try to do no blue light or bright lights, like pretty much 90 minutes before bed. I try to go to bed like closer to a full stomach, and I try to go to bed pretty hydrated as well. Dude, for me, sleep is absolute king. People ask me how can I train every day for years on end, and sleep is my number one. People don't value it enough. They think they kind of take it for granted, but good sleep that's where all your body recovers. You can even like a lot of times when I'm falling asleep, I'm thinking about like the match coming up or different things that I'm gonna work on the upcoming day, and then I feel like even like sometimes I dream about the things that I'm gonna be doing. You know what I mean? I'm having like mental reps in my sleep.
Yeah.
But for recovery, bro, sleep is number one. And that's why I've been so persistent about it, and that's why I can do this shit every day.
Man, first of all, deep sleep is where your body releases HGH. Mm-hmm. So that's like that is when you're saying like sleep is a steroid. Sleep literally gives you steroids. Like if you and you have to set your body up to get deep sleep. Have you ever had a Garmin watch?
No.
Bro.
Is that what you wear?
Well, not at the moment, but I do have.
Is that the one you had yesterday?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty much on all day, every day. But I just had to send it back I smashed the fuck.
I saw it smashed.
It's so fucked. But bro, game changer. Like literally game changer for me, right? So you wear it. I'll show you the model that you could get. The one I got, I probably wouldn't get it again. I got like the most expensive one. That I just fucking wanted to be cool. But it's pretty big and bulky. Mm-hmm. But I would just get like the little, I think it's like 200 something bucks. Wear it every fucking night when you sleep, and it will tell you like all your REM, your deep, like all that sort of shit. Like, dude, it does everything, like your training readiness, your HRV, like just all the different stats. And I looked at I was showing a friend the other day, and I showed him my sleep consistency, and it's just like 8 hours average for like 2 years basically. And it has been a fucking game changer in my life. Like everyone says it to the point like I don't even drink now. basically. Like,
It fucks your sleep up.
dude, it fucks your sleep so bad. Like
Yeah.
one drink of alcohol will ruin your sleep by 30%. And then 2 drinks is like 70%. So, and I can feel it. Like, that's the thing too, when you fully like commit to it and you're fully on that program, you have one drink, like let's say you have 3 months of just 8 hours sleep every single night. You have one drink, like it tanks your sleep, tanks everything. And you're like, holy fuck, people do this every single night. Like I bought my mum a watch because she's like, oh, I can't, I'm sleeping shit, I'm fucking tired. And I'm like, okay, wear this watch and you'll see like just how shit you're doing right now. And then you see she has one fucking wine at night, sleep sucks, she has none for a week, sleeps amazing. It is not a secret.
I wouldn't even do coffee like after 4 p.m. just because
I'm the same.
It'll affect the REM sleep. In jiu-jitsu, a lot of guys smoke pot, and I be telling them like, bro,
it fucks your sleep.
The weed fucks your sleep. Like some people do it to sleep. I'm like, that's not the way, bro. You get no REM sleep if you're doing that. Get off it. You know?
Yeah, and I can see that shit too. Like you can see all of it. I'd be like, so you don't really have like a coach when it comes to like your nutrition and physical side of things. Like you've just kind of done it all yourself.
Yeah, I kind of done it all myself, but I have good friends. Like, if I have like if I need advice,
you just hit someone up.
Yeah, I hit someone up. Like my buddy Jason Kalipa is a CrossFit world champion, and he'll answer a lot of questions, whether like be the mental side or the physical side, nutrition or training, whatever. And he'll give me some good advice, pointers. But I study a lot. I study all the greatest athletes in the world. I'll study like Rich Froning from CrossFit. Yeah. I'll watch interviews with like Jordan and fucking Kobe Bryant and shit, John Jones. I'll study their mentality and kind of, I'll take bits and pieces from everybody and try to make it my own.
Yeah. That's one thing that it's kind of like striking about you in a sense. And obviously like I've been a fan before we met. So it's like I kind of like get to watch you guys and your crew and your brother, and just seems like, the way from the outside looking in, it's like, here's these dudes from Philly that just fucking product of the internet in the way that you wanted to do some shit in your life. You always thought you could be somebody and you just fucking made it happen. And it's through reading shit on the internet, like you said, watching interview and actually taking it on board. There's so many people out there, like it's almost like a hustle culture or like a self-improvement culture, but I know so many motherfuckers that will spend all day watching like motivational shit, and they'll watch like How to Be a Millionaire, and they'll watch all the interviews, and they'll listen to all the podcasts about sleep and then not do it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just end up living their life like consuming the shit, but really not actually practicing it. And it seems to me like you and your brother are just two kids that took it real fucking serious and like actually did all the shit that they listened and read about, and then you end up being one of the fucking best in the world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I'm a fully committed kind of guy. When I want to do something, I absolutely obsess over it. And something that I really committed to was early on in my jiu-jitsu days was the drive, because not everybody would want to drive 6 to 8 hours every day just to go train. You know what I mean? And I definitely didn't want to do it. But I understood the potential result, and I was like, fuck, I could get a regular job at any given time, so let me take like whatever money I can fucking scrounge together and just send it every day to this to New York City and try to get it. And that year that I spent driving from South Jersey to New York City absolutely changed the course of my life.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking powerful. Like, and I've been thinking about it more and more lately. Like this last couple of years, my whole motto has just been fuck your feelings, but pointed back to myself.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of the shit that me and my wife especially have had to like go through in these last 2 years, especially this month. It's just fucking sucked. Like it's so shit, and I don't feel like it. Like if I ask myself what I feel like doing,
doesn't matter.
I don't feel like doing I don't feel like these many flights. I don't feel like essentially being homeless for the whole fucking year.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like any of that. But then if you can separate yourself and how you feel from the goal, like objectively, what's the thing that you see in your future that you want? And then all you do is you only do things that are in line with the goal and not your feelings. You do that for a fucking year and you can change your whole entire life.
Dude, that's true, man. I completely agree with that. It's, I almost never ask myself how I feel. I just know, like, what do I have to do? What are my plans right now? What do I have to do tomorrow? Feelings is like, if you can do it, if you can work, you will work. If you're injured or whatever, like, we get it, but you do what you can do. You know what I mean?
Where did you learn it, do you think?
Dude, I think I honestly I attribute a lot of my success, especially on the mental side, towards wrestling. Yeah. So like, I started wrestling at the age of 12 years old, and in the state of New Jersey, wrestling is huge. It's huge. It's our best sport. And there's a bit of grit and quality mentality that comes from it. Just like pure work ethic and you can learn how tough you are, and that's always how, like, we always have situations where, like, you would like get tired and your coach is like, oh, you're feeling sorry for yourself, like, go sit down. You know what I mean? And it's either like you go take a break or you man up and you just keep going. And I've always been the guy that just kept going.
It's so fucking sick, but it's real in the sense that you can. Because like nowadays you can live a completely like unobstructed life in a way. Like it's so fucking easy to do everything. Like you can actually be a pussy.
Yeah.
And there's been a massive chunk of my life where I've just fully been a pussy. And you can, I think the way that you can really improve your life is to just fully go up against like gnarly hard shit and then beat it.
Yep.
And then you just do it over and over and over and over until you almost get like the story of like who you are changes in a sense. And then once the story changes and then it's like a new story, you just look at everything differently, if that makes sense. Like you just end up being that motherfucker in your own mind. Like you don't end up being the guy that takes the shortcuts and takes the easy way out. And then every day it just becomes like easier and easier to do those things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like me and my brother J-Rod were actually talking about something similar like this the other day, where like J-Rod will talk to me or talk to our teammates about mentality and like the kind of mindset that they should have and they should be in, like when competing or just like throughout every day in life. And he was saying how I don't talk about it, but I just live that. Like I embody that. Like where some people have to actually analyze things and be like, all right, I should be like more confident, or I should believe in myself more, or just subtle things like that, where I just am that all the time. I'm very realistic. Like I do believe in myself in many situations, but I know what I'm good at and what I'm not really capable of. Like, like you saw at the motocross track, right? I'm confident when I ride, but I'm also like, I got to get warmed up.
Yeah,
first.
You're racing A1.
Yeah, I'm not racing. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've just been living in this mindset for so long that it just is that, where other people definitely have to find some external motivation to get them there.
And that's why people should do those hard things. Mm-hmm. It's like because again, in life, you can avoid those. Like modern life, you can just avoid shit being hard. But it's almost like you can't, in a way. Like you can take the easy way out of everything, but then it's almost like your whole life will be hard. Whereas if you do the hard things all the time, your life will be easy. And you would way rather do learn to enjoy the hard things to make your whole life easier than do it the opposite, And
I totally agree. Growing up, my dad would tell me, it was like, listen, no matter what you do in life, you're going to have to work insanely hard. So you might as well pick something you love. Yeah. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I think jiu-jitsu definitely helped that side for me. Like I wasn't doing anything super physical. I was riding moto, but I was like, I kind of suck at it. So I'm just like, I didn't really enjoy it that much because I was kind of like, at the level where you're at, where it's like you're competent. I was riding forever, but I wasn't really training at it. I wasn't getting better. It was just like I was scared when I went to the track that like something could happen and I'd crash,
Yeah.
But then I started going to jiu-jitsu. I started training hard as fuck. I loved that, like, the dog mentality, I was getting fucked up a lot, as everybody does, except for you, when they first start jiu-jitsu. And I was going home like hating certain people and like wanting to go back the next day and fucking bash them. And it's like you get a bit of a fire inside, and it's like because you're just going and facing something hard as fuck every single day, and then over a certain period of time, like you just feel like you just change in a way.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like, humans since the beginning of time have been doing one-on-one combat.
For sure.
Jiu-jitsu is just a version of that where you're not going to get brain damage. So you have the ability to try your absolute hardest against another opponent that's also trying their hardest, and like, may the best man win. It's just something very organic, something primal about doing battle that I absolutely love. Like when I compete, like it's just me versus you, and I'm gonna make you quit. You know what I mean? Like it's as simple as that. Obviously, it's more in depth like when it comes to technique and shit. But it's me and you out there. Nobody's gonna fucking save you. And
you can save yourself.
You can save yourself by saying you quit. You know what I mean? But fuck, I love it, man. Like I really enjoy competing. I love the process of training and getting better, but like you have to train like with care of your training partners. Whereas like the great thing about competition is that, like, especially at the professional level, like you can go out there and absolutely break your opponent's leg to where they can't walk anymore, and that's the goal. Like it's a beautiful thing when that,
and it's
when
okay.
It's completely okay to where, like, you're like in practice and you're getting a submission and you're almost there and you're making it real subtle, and they tap and then you restart and you go. But when you're in competition, you grab a foot or you grab a leg or an arm and you just fucking break. You hear bones snap and muscles tear. It's a beautiful thing, and yeah, I love it, man.
So when you very first started training jiu-jitsu, did you get bashed by people, or it was just not a thing?
Nope. I was pretty much
you're like the only dude,
Yeah.
like literally the only dude in the world. You'd be like, nope.
Yep, for sure. I was pretty much beating everybody until I started training up north in New York City, where I'd get heel hooked and I'd get controlled positionally. A lot of times under John Danaher, we train positional rounds like mounted round, turtle round, and which are unique technique to escape those positions and to control.
If someone's already got you there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll start like back flat to the mat, somebody sitting on my chest, and not just somebody, but like some of the best grapplers in the world sitting on my chest, and they have to control me and I have to escape. And I started doing that when I had no technique, and as I continued to get better, those rounds got more in my favor. So yeah, I had to do quite a bit of suffering. Like in my opinion, I had the toughest road of jiu-jitsu because of that. Because I started in the toughest jiu-jitsu room in the world.
Yeah.
With absolutely no jiu-jitsu technique, just wrestling. Like in wrestling, they teach you like don't go to your back, not how to get off your back. You know what I mean? Like once you're there, the match is over. So I had quite a bit of growing to do both like in technique and just like I needed like mental calluses to like fucking just to say it's gonna get better. You know what I mean? So many times I go into practice and be like, fuck, I know it's gonna be a hard day, so I'm just like preparing for it, and eventually you just continue to get better and you get your way with people.
It's what you did is basically like someone deciding to start dirt bikes and then going to live at Ricky Carmichael's farm, basically.
100%. That I would say that's accurate.
And then in 8 months, you do your first Supercross race. Like that's basically how your jiu-jitsu career went down. It's absolutely insane. And then you to go to that room and obviously you had access to the best level of coaching, but man, you literally had to train with the best grappler on earth in that discipline just over and over and over.
While I
and
had
over and over.
no knowledge.
While you had zero technique.
Yeah. Dude, I would ask. I was also the guy asking like a ton of questions like in practice. You know, I would annoy the coach with questions because I knew I needed to get better, and that's the way to do it. You know, you got to shut the ego down. You know, part of me was like, fuck, I don't want him to know that I'm asking questions about him. You know, about this certain guy that's like holding me down or whatever. But then the other part, it's like it doesn't matter. Like what matters now is you correcting your mistakes and improving.
I think that's probably the biggest thing in jiu-jitsu, but like you can kind of apply it to anything, is just controlling your ego in the learning room. Yeah. It's like when you go to compete, you have to have the most ego. Like you have to be the biggest swinging dick that you can possibly be and just go there to fuck people up and just like say you're sorry on the podium at the end of it. But like until then, you just have to be a piece of shit. But it's like to not have the ego when you're in the room trying to learn, like, and even for myself, like that's fucking hard. It's hard to not want to win every round, but it's like the people that get better are the ones that have the least ego in training and the most ego in competition.
Yeah, for sure. Like when I compete, even when I train, when I do live training for competition, I'm a pretty big asshole. But when I compete, I'm mean. You know what I mean? Like even like simple things, like we get to the edge of the mat, I'll just stay there in your face and see how you react. Like, you know, there's a situation like where me and Yuri Samoa is like we're like on the edge of the mat, and I could just like turn around and walk back, but I just stay there and look at him, and he like gets in my face and it gets like emotional. I was like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? Let's let that out. You know. So yeah, when I compete, I hate my opponent. I want to break them and I want them to quit. You know. But besides that, I'm pretty chill.
I want to fucking kill all of you, but I'm a really nice guy.
Yeah.
When you first started training, what did you focus on? Like, so basically, takedown, pass, back was basically like that was like the first 80cc roadmap for you. Yeah.
So initially, I'd before people knew I was a good wrestler, they would stand with me, and then I focused on using specific takedowns to go right to my opponent's back. So I would use like knee pull single legs or swing singles. So I would just like, I'd get to a leg, and as they sprawl, I'd end up behind them. I could get right to the finish. And then they started learning how good of my wrestling was. So then I went from doing that, and then they start pulling guards, so I have to learn some passing. Initially, I was only passing via like knee cuts and explosive movements, but now I have various ways of passing. Like I use the Roddy lock. I use different types of camping to exhaust an opponent, and then start getting deeper into getting higher past their hip line. Like I use like J-point camping or different ways to get them fatigued so that I can pass and submit. Like a lot of times in jiu-jitsu, if a guy just doesn't want to get submitted, he can just like ball up and like he can hold off for a few minutes. You know what I mean? And kind of not do anything, but you really have to figure out a way to fatigue your opponent at the highest level, and then you can get closer to a submission from there.
And so were you like mentally, what were you trying to focus on in jiu-jitsu at the start? Like, were you trying to learn everything and get like a broad scope of it, or did you just really like zone in like specifics? Okay, kind of just need this, and this, and if I just do these things, sweet, like I can probably get on the podium at 80cc.
Yeah, good question. So right off, as soon as I started jiu-jitsu, I knew that I was like impossible to control, but I had weak points, like a good submission artist could submit me if he got a hold. So what I did is I put a big emphasis on defensive movements, like the ability to not get submitted. So I trained a lot of like armbar escapes, leg lock defense, back escapes, where if somebody took my back, whether they have like a body triangle or hooks in, I could completely defend the rear naked choke and escape. So I put a huge emphasis on defense as number one. So if I ever got in a bad position, I'm completely competent and confident, so I can escape and then start an offensive cycle. So for me, defense was number one. Number 2 would be positional training, escaping the bad positions, and then becoming great at controlling the bad positions. You know, just like we talked about mount or turtle, like being impossible to control from mounted position, and then once I am on top, being like nearly impossible to get bucked off and ride them until I can get the submission. So I think those 2 fundamentals, continuing to do the positional rounds, and then put a big emphasis on defense, like, you know, giving, like in practice, giving Craig Jones like an arm bar and then escaping the arm bar and you know, reattacking, giving Gordon Ryan like my back, escaping the back, and then becoming offensive again. So situations like that really benefited my grappling early on until I had enough time to start adding different movements and techniques.
Yeah. No, it makes sense because like you in such a unique position where you're day one just trying to fucking go pro.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Which is just not how it normally happens. But there's like for me, I basically was like, I just want to become like an encyclopedia of jiu-jitsu. And even if my body can't do it, like if I can't drill the move, or I can't, like if you just asked me, I couldn't just do it straight away, but I could tell you about it. I could, like, if you asked me to write, like I could get tested on it and I'd be able to tell you, oh, you got this guard, you can do these things, blah, blah, blah. So I guess, I'm just trying to get my head around like how your map was, because you just had such a specific set of skills. If you know a rear naked choke, then like you just get to somebody's back. Like really, jiu-jitsu isn't that complex to go from takedown to submission if you have like your level of athleticism. It's like you don't need to know every pass. You don't need to know every guard. There's like so much shit you didn't need to know at the start.
Yeah, I mean, competitive jiu-jitsu is different than like having like a real black belt or being having the ability to teach or have like the way I see it, a lot of my competitors, it's just a series of sequences that they do, and I can learn those sequences. You only have so many sequences in your brain. You know what I mean? So as far as opponents goes, like you can learn what to do by watching them. And then as far as like technique goes, like there's a lot of fine details that most of jiu-jitsu misses. Like I can tell you, like only the guys training under John Danaher and the guys training at B Team actually know how to do the best version of a rear naked choke. Like a rear naked choke has been done millions of times and everybody knows how to do one, but to do the best and the most efficient rear naked choke, only my guys and training under John and training at B Team knows how to actually do it. And same thing for a lot of the movements. Like we have a broad understanding of, you know, arm bar. Like, okay, you get to an arm, but like, can you control the arm? Can you actually break the arm? Because in submission grappling, it's good to get to submission, but you need the mechanics to actually break a leg so they can't use it anymore. So like I would say the finer details at the highest level is crucial, and even some of the higher level like jiu-jitsu athletes have decent technique but have terrible finishing mechanics, whether that be submission finishing or like just tech, like finishing of the technique. So the finer details is crucial to kind of get past that threshold.
Yeah, it makes sense. And like even when I started watching John's instructionals, like that was a big game changer because you just it's more, I think like concepts is almost more important than like techniques in a way too. Like if you can understand the like why you should be doing something and like the concept of like why does this work, like what's the point of doing it, I think that also helps more than just like step 1, step 2, like you can kind of not figure it out, but like if the concept will help you more than that actual technique in a sense.
I would say for sure, if you understand the concept, then the technique will come more easier because you know the reason why. And I think that's beneficial.
Yeah. Do you feel like you want to at some like have that real black belt where you know all those like positions, you know all those techniques? Like, is that an aim in your jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'll get a black belt once I beat Gordon in the match. That's the plan. But as far as like competitive wise, like obviously like I was great from the start. But yeah, knowledge is coming little by little. Like I go through in spurts where I'll compete consistently for like, a couple weeks, few months. And kind of my progress is very slow in that section because I'm sharpening all the tools. I make sure I'm ready for battle. And then I'll take a few months where I'm not competing. And that's where my progress. So like I'll have insane progress. I'll gain techniques. I'll gain different movements and different tools to add to my arsenal. And I'll pick them up really fast. And so I have these like, I have like this when I'm not competing, this steep rise, and then when I am competing, like kind of like
Just
a steady
plateaus,
rise,
yeah.
and it picks up again. So I mean that's just kind of what works for me. It's kind of and I've just been kind of sticking with it.
Yeah. So when you're in that stage of like progression, no comps, like what does that look like for you? What are you working on? What are you thinking about? What are you studying?
Yeah, I'm working different techniques. Like when I'm not competing, I'll do the stuff that I'm bad at. Like I'll do like guard retention, submissions from bottom. I'll do various sweeps and yeah, just things that I don't normally do in a match. Like when in a match, I'm getting on top of the guy.
Yeah, you ain't submitting someone from the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting on top of the guy. I'm passing guard. I'm controlling it and then chasing the submission soon after. But in practice, when I'm not competing, I'm doing bottom. I'm doing tons of leg locks. And just I always look at myself. If I was to beat me? How would I do it? Right now, it's impossible unless you're me. Right? Only me can beat me. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? But besides that, yeah, I think just looking at myself and seeing the holes in my game and seeing where I can add bits and pieces is very beneficial.
Yeah, no, it's just cool you just got such a different, unique position. Like we actually had a dude. He was a judo black belt at our gym, and he was a blue belt when I started. He's a black belt now, which is fucking insane. But yeah, he would just throw motherfuckers around the gym, and it's like it was similar in a sense where he had such good takedowns, then he had such good like side control, and then he just learned to submit people from like basically side control, and he just like blitzed every comp in Australia forever. But it was cool to be in the gym with him and then watch him learn, like De La Riva guard and like watch him learn different like submissions from bottom and shit like that. And it's there's just these two separate lanes in the sport where it's like the competitive lane, and then there's just like this other lane that's just like an infinity of knowledge that, a guy, you think about like a dude like Nicky or Craig, just like the amount of fucking shit that they would have forgotten about jiu-jitsu over their life is probably more than what most people know.
Yeah, for sure. I feel as if the ego sometimes can get in the way, and because you don't want to lose in practice, so you get stuck training as if you're in competition, and that just hinders your ability to improve. So kind of shutting off the ego and just understanding, all right, this is time to get better. The result in training doesn't really matter. It matters about the result in competition.
Yeah, no, 100%. So when you started, did you see jiu-jitsu as like a good opportunity to make money? Like, was it a business thing for you straight away where you're like, oh, okay, I was a fucking solid wrestler. I'm a genetic freak. Here's this place where I think I can just come in and fuck shit up.
Absolutely. Once I started, once I started, I was looking on social media and I saw a few guys, getting paid like Craig Jones and whatnot. And I saw an avenue to make money, and I was like, that's why I'm going to fully commit. I was like, I see an opportunity to make money without having the normal 9-to-5 job. I'm going to fully send it and see how it goes. And so most definitely, yes, from day one, I was like, this is going to be a business, a means to change my life.
That's fucking cool, dude, that you can see something like that and have the foresight. Because for context, for people that don't know jiu-jitsu, like it hasn't been that long that people have been able to make a crazy good living doing the sport. If you weren't an established black belt, if you weren't an IBJF world champion, you kind of didn't really have a chance of making money. And like even in the time that I've been doing it, like Craig had a crazy come up, obviously Gordon and the whole like Danaher Death Squad. They were like, you've literally got the timing so right to where there'd like been a few dudes that had kind of paved the way. and then you were just like, oh fuck, I can do this. And there's probably going to be more dudes like you.
Absolutely. I think in the future, there's going to be a lot of like NCAA wrestlers that they don't want to work. You know, their wrestling isn't good enough to go to the Olympics for wrestling, but they see this avenue of jiu-jitsu that's like similar to wrestling, and it's very profitable. And I'm very confident in the future there will be multiple ADCC world champions that were once wrestling in NCAA divisions, and now have taken over the world of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because wrestling's a weird sport in that it's so gnarly.
It's fucking hard, man.
Bro, if you dedicate your life to being a high school and college wrestler, like, you're a fucking savage.
Yeah.
Like, you have just absolutely put yourself through the ringer. And then you either go to the UFC, where you're getting punched in the fucking head for a living, or you try and go to the Olympics, and then it's like there's only a few dudes that can, like a Jordan Burroughs, or, you know, like those kind of guys that never went to MMA and made a crazy good living out of wrestling. But it's like jiu-jitsu is this fucking fringe, weird subculture genre of grappling where it's like there's now a really big commercial viability to actually do it, and you don't ever have to get punched in the face. Like, I'm sure you could have turned your attention to MMA and been a star in MMA, but it's like, do you really want to get fucking kicked in the head for a living and go through all that shit where it's like, damn, let's make millions of dollars not getting punched in the face?
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely don't want to get punched in the face. Doesn't seem like fun to me. Also, fighting is less fun. You know what I mean? Like, fighting is very intense. It's serious. The consequence is much more dire than the consequence of jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? For me, jiu-jitsu is like, I take competition very seriously, but it's just fun. Like, I like competing. I like asserting dominance against another opponent against his will. You know, it's just it's attractive to me, and yeah, I love everything about jiu-jitsu. I'm the one, man, taking over. And yeah, it's profitable nowadays. I definitely agree. Timing is very important. I just kind of hopped on board at the right time.
So you basically had like a summer cash in the bank, and you were like, I need to make this jiu-jitsu shit work before this money runs out, basically.
Yeah, I must have had like like $1,500. I'm living at mom's house, you know what I mean, at like 20 years old. Maybe I saved there like $1,500, almost $2,000 from like working at regular jobs. But a lot of the money I used was a credit. I had like a credit card. I had a good credit, so I was able to get a credit card with like $10,000 limit. And by the time I maxed that out, I was able to make. It was like ADCC came. I medaled there, and I was able to make money. So I was like, fucking perfect timing. You know what I mean?
Was ADCC profitable that first year?
ADCC doesn't pay that much money,
but it's the sponsorship side of it, right?
It's the sponsorships, but more so it's what happens afterwards, because you medal or you win ADCC. Now you can pretty much name your price in competition, and people it's hard for them to argue with you. You know what I mean? So like I had multiple competitions lined up prior to ADCC, so I was making a couple bucks, and then once I medaled at ADCC, I was able to make pretty good money competing soon after that, and the numbers continue to increase throughout the years.
But you were really good at marketing too. Like, kind of straight away, you marketed yourself as a black belt slayer. Like, the fucking your shirt come off after every win. Like, you definitely knew what you were doing, it seemed like. Where did that shit come from?
Yeah, so I knew the value of social media from pretty early on. So after my freshman year of college, I dropped out of college because I got signed as a model for Wilhelmina Models and on the sports and fitness side up in New York City. And I was making maybe like $1,200 for a shoot, like here and there. And I was like, fuck, like I'm making money, like not working. I might as well continue to chase this thing. And then because I was chasing the modeling stuff, that's when I was working as a bouncer and Home Depot and stuff like that. So while I was modeling, I realized that I should be posting consistently on social media. So by the time, before I even started jiu-jitsu, I had something like 30,000 followers on Instagram, just from the good looks, you know what I mean? once I started training jiu-jitsu, I was like, I guess I'll just start making jiu-jitsu content, and that started picking up as well. And just continued to grow as we competed and whatnot.
How was college? Like, what did you study there?
I studied wrestling and girls. That was just pretty much it. I like pretty much didn't go to class. I only went to college to wrestle. I was not interested in
wrestle and fuck.
Yeah, I was only interested in the ladies and wrestling, and that was why. I guess if that's the goal, I accomplished it.
What was the pussy like up there?
I was moist and warm. Pretty good, you know. Pretty good. I graduated high school early at 17. Not because I'm smart, but because of my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My birthday's like late August, so I got like.
You kind of like beat the cusp of it.
Yeah. So I graduated high school at 17. So freshman year of college, I was 18, and I tried Tinder for my first time. That was great. I had a small college, so everybody kind of knew each other, and that was I mean, I'm pretty popular wherever I go, and I was definitely popular in college.
Dude, you were just wrecking shop.
Yes, sir.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened in your life?
Worst thing? Probably not that bad. Nothing too bad. I have a pretty blessed life, but I did tear my bicep off the bone. That was pretty fucking terrible. Yeah, and it was honestly my mistake. So like, This happened like 2 years ago. I'm home in New Jersey, maybe like 2.5 years ago actually. But I'm home in New Jersey. And in New Jersey, I have this gym that I go to called Four Seasons Fitness, and for whatever reason, I absolutely love their bicep curl machine, right? It's just like the perfect specs for like the length of my arms and like the position of my body when I'm sitting on it. It's a preacher curl machine, right?
Yeah.
And I love it so much. And every time I go home, I go to the gym, I do this machine, like I fucking kill it. So I have 2 crazy arm days back to back, right? And then so I'm like pretty sore and pretty beat up. And then the next day I go to a wrestling practice, and I train with like Olympic wrestlers in New Jersey at the NJRTC. And I get there like fucking 25 minutes late, and so I don't get like a warm up. I do like a shitty warm up, like fucking jumping around, like fuck it, I'm good. I go out there, shake hands, and I shoot right away. And the second I shoot, I hit his leg as he's sprawling backwards and just blow my arm out. So it completely tore the tendon, ripped the bicep off of my bone, and I was just like, wow, this sucks. I didn't feel any pain, but I just had an arm that I couldn't move. Like I couldn't just couldn't pick it up. You know what I mean? So that was pretty terrible. But I also find out I have like most people, like bicep is 2 muscles, right? And most people have an attachment on their forearm and attachment in their shoulder. I actually have I have two attachments on my forearm, which is like a
genetic Superman thing.
Yeah, it's like a mutation, or like, just in my genetics. Yeah. So when I tore the bicep, usually the whole thing goes up, but the inside, which I guess it must be a separate muscle, was balled up, and then the outside bicep was still attached. And I thought that was pretty crazy. And then the doctor was like, yeah, this is like pretty fucking weird that you have two tendons attaching your bicep to the forearm. So that was something interesting that I learned. But yeah, I mean, injury, like it is what it is. But yeah, nothing really terrible happened to me. I did see a guy get shot in the face.
That's fucking heavy.
Yeah, it didn't happen to me, so that's good. But
that is good.
Yeah, so I was in North Philly getting like some getting Spanish food made by Chinese people, that's a weird dynamic.
I bet it ripped.
It was fantastic. Yeah, super salty, fried everything.
MSG is fuck.
All of it, bro. Yeah. And so I'm like with my buddy Christian, and we order the food, and I get back in the car, like, it's gonna be like 10 minutes till it's done, and we're just like talking, and from the corner of my eye, I like see this guy like just like looking weird, and all of a sudden he pulls out a gun and hits the guy twice with a pistol, and then turns our way, and like we're on the corner, and starts booking it, right? He has ski mask on, long sleeve blue shirt, blue jeans, and he's like sprinting towards us. And my buddy Christian looks at me, and we make eye contact. I look at the shifter in the car. I was like, all right, time to go. We fucking dipped, left the food. So yeah, that was pretty gnarly, but yeah, didn't happen to me, so that's good.
That's so fucking naked.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna piss and then we'll restart.
Sounds good.
We got the worst flight the other day, and so we're in Florida, we're in Tampa, and then storm comes in. So then they're like, oh, there's a storm here, and then we're actually in Dallas, Fort Worth. It was like a few weeks ago, fucking hectic storm. So anyway, we get to DFW, and they're like, cancel all these flights, and we're just like, motherfucker, like this is shit. And then there's this group down a couple terminals, or like down a couple gates, fucking losing it, bro. And it looked like there was about to be a riot.
Wow.
So I walked past, guess where the flight's going?
Florida?
Philly.
Philly? Oh, shit.
And I was like, that makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
Philly's gnarly. And
Yeah.
then you're over here telling stories about a motherfucker just getting shot in the face.
That's how it goes. Made it out.
Was it rough there? Like, so that was just, for you to not be fazed by that, like, so that just felt normal at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're in the ghetto, you know that you're in the ghetto. You're like, you gotta look around and be aware. I mean, I guess it's good to be aware wherever you are, but some places more than others. But yeah, no, I lived in Philadelphia, so I think like maybe like 5 or 6. And my dad moved us out to the suburbs in New Jersey. But I would always go back because my dad made most of his money flipping houses. So I would go ever since I could pick up a hammer, I'd be helping him out, and you know what I mean. So I learned a lot about hard work through my dad, because if you're fucking mixing concrete and laying hardwood floor and shit, you're like, damn, there's got to be more to this life. I was like, that's what my dad told me. He's like, dude, you're gonna have to work hard no matter what you do, but fucking figure out what you want to do.
Oh man, my dad used to make us do the most fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've like PTSD just burned in my brain. We did like we had like this tiny shitty house when we were young, and then my dad basically just like built another room, and then built an ensuite, and then built it. So it started as like 2 bedrooms, just basically a box. And then my whole fucking childhood, bro, was building this house. And they're like days of just like taking loads of crusher dust out of the back of the trailer and spreading it for slabs and like the pool and the fucking worst day of my life though, like burned into my brain, was just pop riveting this fucking sheet iron on the bottom side of the veranda that we did. So I'm just standing there like 10 years old, and I'm just like, my neck's all kinked, and you just start like holding, and then you just like fucking crumpled up. I'm just like thinking, dude, you are actually the biggest fucking asshole of all time for making me do this. But fast forward fucking 20 years and you look back and you're like, that's actually one of the more like formative things I did, was just like forever work on that fucking house.
That's a good way to spend time with dad as well. If he's a worker, you probably it's good. It's a good way to bond a little bit.
So as like the reason why I asked what's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you, like I've seen friends. Not saying this is gonna happen to you, but I've got like friends where they just kind of like cruise through life, and then they have like something super fucked up happen to them, and they've just like never had something super fucked up happen to them, and it just like fully rails them, and it's like, I just wonder, I find that really interesting. Like some people, and I've seen people that like they can bounce back, and then other people that don't. Like there's such like a weird mentality, or that's such a hard or gnarly thing when you have some crazy difficult thing happen in your life, and like you see how you react. But it's like, maybe you have had a bunch of hard things in your life, but you just you don't look at them as like the hardest thing that's ever happened to you, kind of thing.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Not many things are harder than mixing concrete when it's like 110 degrees out. You're in a fucking basement in North Philly. You know what I mean? I'm good. I've had my days of hard work. Honestly, I just live in my own world. You know what I mean? Like I don't really see like, like things happen in the world that's terrible. Like the shit that's going, like there's a war going on across the seas. Which is pretty fucked up. But like, I only care about myself. You know, I'm American, you know, USA all day. If you come here, we'll fuck you up. But besides that, we live in life. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for you. But I mean, I don't have enough time to care about other stuff. I just care about what I'm doing and my goals.
Yeah.
Which is selfish, but I'm selfish.
But it's how you achieve goals.
Yeah, bro.
Like you have to be, there's a level of selfishness that you have to have. And when you say like you live in your own world, like the key to being successful, in my opinion, is build a bubble.
Yeah.
And live in that fucking bubble. Do not leave that bubble for fucking anything. And if you do, like it better be worthwhile. Like have your wife on the program, have your friends on the program, like just everyone get on the fucking program, be inside this bubble. Let's not leave and let's like kill it together. I think that's actually the secret to making shit happen.
Do you think any motocross racers use like a sports psychologist?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that there would definitely be some.
Yeah.
What makes you ask that?
I was just thinking about. I have a teammate that he is like phenomenal in the practice room, but when he competes, he just can't. He has an inability to bring the best version of himself, and I wonder if something like a sports psychologist would help.
For sure,
out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like me, I saw a sports psychologist once, but everything he said, I was like, yeah, like I already do this.
I was about to say,
live this
like,
shit.
Yeah. You went to see a sports psych, and then you're like, oh yeah, I am fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then you walked out.
I never talked to him again after that. I was like, yeah, I have it figured out. But for somebody that hasn't figured out and needs to find themselves, I think that might be beneficial.
But what do you think it is though? Like if you break, because that's what a sports psych would do, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of half spoke about it a bit yesterday. So I sort of know where you're at with
Yeah.
it. But it's like, what is it that would need to go? For me, it's like almost just self-doubt. Like I think a lot of the problems that people have in their life come from inability to overcome self-doubt and then an over-prioritization of what other people think. Yeah,
I think caring what other people think, I think it's too easy to get caught up like, oh, my mom's in the fucking audience, like I want to win for her or whatever. I think you have to be much more selfish and just first off only want to win for yourself, and then fuck, I was going to add something else. Can you ask me the same question again? See how this goes.
Well, basically caring what other people think.
Caring what other people think. Yeah. Oh, I think you have to not care like at all. Yeah. Like when I compete, like I win or lose, that's not the goal. The goal is to just do my best, right? I've done this whole training camp so I can produce the best results, or so I can just go out there and do the best style of jiu-jitsu at this specific time on this mat. And I don't care what happens. I just care that I do my best, and you know the results will speak for itself. So it's like I think just caring less, like not giving a fuck. Like I don't care what you think it'd be. I don't care who's watching. And also trying to be the best version of yourself every day. Like when I compete, like obviously I have a goal of peaking on a specific day. But when I compete, I think I'll beat this guy's ass on Monday through Sunday, every fucking day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Does not matter when or where, I will fucking dominate no matter what. And I think me caring so little about what other people think allows me to compete freely and ultimately gives the best performance possible.
Man, not giving a fuck about the right things is the biggest superpower in life. Like,
for
sure. And the podcast for me was a huge like learning experience in that in a way. But when I spoke to a friend from home, who like my hometown, like I grew up with, he's 5 years old. Since we were 5 years old, like, he's like you actually. He's like a fucking genetic freak. Like the dude was bench pressing 140 kilos in fucking like high school, bro. Wow. Like his dad's a Samoan bodybuilder. His mum was a fucking all natural bodybuilder. But anyway, so we were talking about, you know, the podcast. He hadn't seen me in years, and he was like, "Man, it's fucking so sick, like what you're doing." And he's like, "But it makes so much sense." He's like, 25 years later, like knowing the 5-6-year-old version of you, like this is what you were supposed to do, like because you never gave a fuck.
Yeah.
You just didn't give a fuck what people would think. And like, I was the biggest kook at school, bro. Like, I would fucking wear sunglasses inside. I got prescription glasses so that the teacher couldn't make me take my fucking glasses off, because I'd just be like, oh, I forgot my reading glasses. These are prescription. I need it. Just like dumb fucking shit like that. And it was almost, I think back then it wasn't genuine though. Like, I kind of was like making a point to tell people that I didn't give a fuck, which is giving a fuck in a way. So I think like I always had that ability in me to just not give a fuck at what people thought. But over the years, it became like a genuine thing to where I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm fine with myself. I'm not perfect. This is who I am. This is the fucking strong points. This is the weak points. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's how it is. I'm going to keep working on it. So let me do my thing, basically. And it's like, that is a superpower. Like, there's so many fucking times where I'll have like self-doubt about this shit or anxiety about an episode. Oh, I fucking spoke too much. I didn't ask that. I should have done this. Like, that's fucking lame to say that. Like, then you want to go back and delete it, but then it fucks up like the next person's, like, you ruin the whole flow. So like, you just fully have to like swallow your ego and like swallow your pride and just be like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, for this to work, for this fucking podcast to actually make a living and pay me and my employees, I need to just get the fuck over myself. And I think that that's a huge thing that lets so many, like, it holds so many people back in their life. And you got to, at least for me, like, you have to like mentally go through this process to like get to the bottom. And it's like, okay, now I fully understand that I should not give a fuck about XYZ because XYZ, you know? So it's like, I just think that there's a process, like your friend would have to go through a process of just looking at all of the things that he gives a fuck about that he probably shouldn't. And then just like rationalizing like why it does not make sense to think like that. But the other thing is like, you can sit there and say like, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm the man. But to like genuinely say that, you also have to be very truthful to yourself about the shit you suck at, right? Mm-hmm. And I think as much as people care what people think, they're also not honest with themselves about that fact too. So it's like, you kind of can't even mentally do the work unless you're prepared to like stare yourself in the face and say like, this is what I suck at. This is where I'm being a fucking lame. Like, that part of it's quite hard as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And as far as like being perfect, I feel like almost nothing in the world is considered perfect. There's only I think to be perfect, it's to just be unique. Yeah. Right? Like, just be different, be yourself, be organic, and you know, the people will follow, man.
Well, the thing about that, it's a fucking good point, but being unique is like actually the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, because it's only you are you.
Only you. Yeah. So many people have it fucking twisted to think that they should like be a certain way. I mean, like this, and I was even talking to a dude about it the other day when I was saying like, oh yeah, people fucking, if I really cared about what people thought, I would just never mention jiu-jitsu on this podcast. Yeah. Like, it's a fucking, would be like the easiest thing to do, but it's just like, you go, oh, fuck, you know, I'm being me. No one's perfect. That's fucking something I like doing, something I like talking about. And it just adds to like the uniqueness of like who you are. And then that in turn becomes like this fucking effortless process. Like, and then all you have to do is, like you said, focus on being a good version of yourself. Like, I feel a responsibility not to be a fucking retard.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's just the line that I have to walk every day. And it's like, and then you can be selfish. Like, I think it's good to be selfish if like your main focus is just trying to be a good dude, trying to improve, trying to provide for your family. Like, it kind of, then being selfish, I look at being selfish as like a massive asset.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm definitely selfish in my own ways, and selfless when it comes to the people I really care about. You know, so it's a balancing act, like everything in life, man, for sure.
What would your advice be to your teammate that
my teammate,
if you were psyching, if you were playing sports psych?
I would say care less about what anybody thinks. Like, don't give a fuck about at all, right? trick yourself to think that you are in your gym. This is just a different location, different mat space. You're just in practice. And I would say for weeks leading up, believe that you are the best in the fucking world, right? In your weight class, in this competition, believe you are the absolute baddest motherfucker on this planet, and go out there and do what you do in the gym in a different location. I would say keep it that simple. And for me, I get extreme results when I do that.
Yeah. No, I think it's fucking phenomenal advice. You know, something else, Craig actually gave me advice before a comp once, and because he doesn't do anything different for a comp.
No.
What you said about like the gym to the comp, he is the fucking ultimate of that. Like, he doesn't listen to music. He doesn't listen to, doesn't do no crazy shit. He
don't even like warm up. He's just like, I'll just go do it.
Literally nothing. And he told me that before. It was like one of my first big like fucking white belt competitions that I did. And I was like, what music do you listen to? He's like, bro, it makes zero sense to do that. He's like, the only time that you should listen to music before you do a jiu-jitsu competition is if in between every roll at the gym, you're listening to your headphones. He's like, that's the only time that you should do it, because there really shouldn't be like that much of a separation between like, because you do have a habit, so it's like just follow the habits that you have every day, you know. For sure,
if you're doing competition rounds in practice, competition is just a competition round. You're in practice, you know what I mean? The only difference is that you don't have to worry about hurting this guy. You can actually hurt this motherfucker. So I think that's a very the only subtle difference. But besides that, try your best to just treat him the same, and you'll see extreme benefits.
The other thing that I would always think about as well is, especially like with what I do, because when I do a competition, it's like, oh, it's a white belt competition, it's a blue belt competition. Like you're in a level, like you're in a box. The thing that I would always take like solace in and comfort in is that I roll with black belt every day. I roll with brown belt, purple. So none of those dudes are as good. Like none of the dudes I'd fight in competition are as good as those guys. And like at your team, like when you're fighting, it's like a weight division. It's like, so you have harder rolls. Like if you're a smaller guy in the gym and then you have like you're saying, a competition round in the gym with like you or Craig or fucking like any of those bigger dudes, like you actually have already had harder rounds.
Yeah, I do my best to make practice much harder than competition will ever be. Like I'll train. First of all, I'll get to a point of exhaustion and I'll continue to train. That in itself will create some kind of mental callus that when you do get tired in comp, you've been there. You've been exhausted and you still had another 10-minute round to go. So stuff like that. Also training the positional rounds, like when you're tired and somebody's on your back and you escape and then you put them back on your back, bro, that's fucking hard to do. It's hard it's hard for the ego, because you're like, it's a thing, like you have to stay cognitively sharp and think clearly while you're exhausted, while you're in a bad position. Not everybody has the ability to do that, and once you do it over and over and over again, it just gives you confidence and security that, well, like I've been in worse positions than this guy could ever imagine, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That whole like better at practice versus like that's so common in every sport. And like moto is the same. Like you'll hear stories of dudes that so fucking gnarly at the practice track, and then they just can't do it at the race, and it's all fucking mental. Like if you can physically do something in practice, and the only difference is like, and motocross is, I guess, different, or supercross, because there's like 40 dudes on the track and you've got to get the start and shit like that. But jiu-jitsu, it should just be 1-to-1. Like physically, you're doing the exact same fucking thing, whether you're practicing or at a competition. Like the mental framing is the only thing that's different.
Yeah. Also, if you have an opponent that likes De La Hiva or likes to wrestle, go with your training partners that like that stuff. You're gonna get similar looks. It's not gonna be much different, you know. So little tricks of the trade you can do to kind of mimic competition. But yeah, I agree. It should be very similar. MMA is a little bit different because you can't get fucking like, I guess sparring, they go pretty hard, but like the closer you get to to really fighting, like the more dangerous it gets. So.
Do you feel, is it more intimidating to fight a UFC fighter in grappling, or is that just like the easiest money?
It's easier. Yeah.
Isn't that so gnarly? Like the fucking context. Like if they locked you in a cage with a dude, you'd be fucking in like a totally different mindset to like a grappling fight night.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just minimal risk in jiu-jitsu, but like also like you have this guy training like 5 different styles of mixed martial arts, trying to put it together. Where I'm just training one style of martial arts every single day. I'm perfecting it, so it's going to be substantially easier for an MMA fighter.
Who would be the one, or like who are some MMA fighters you'd want to grapple against?
Well, I did train with Gilbert Burns, and in my opinion, he has some of the best jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's fucking legit.
Yeah, he's phenomenal jiu-jitsu. He's some of the best jiu-jitsu I've ever seen in mixed martial arts. Yeah, as a MMA guy that is decent on the ground, I'd say he's definitely one of the top guys. And I've trained with a few other fighters that are pretty tough. Like my guy Brendan Allen, he just beat Paul Craig in a UFC fight, like finished him, I believe, rear naked choke or something like that. Pretty decent jiu-jitsu as well. But it's different styles. Like they want to be on top. They want to, like, if they get to bad position, they don't want to sweep. They just want to stand up, get out, get back to striking. So slightly different goals. But yeah, the MMA guys are always pretty tough to train with because they don't have any quit, and every time they get down, they just pop right back up. Unless you can control them.
We trained a bunch at Bali MMA for it was like 3 or 4 months. We lived there, like kind of right as COVID was finishing, and they just got all these little fucking Balinese MMA fighters, and like the cunts would just never tap.
Yeah,
like, it was like competition. It was just competition rounds, like where you'd have to fucking break their arm, and you'd literally be like making a decision on the mat, like, am I just gonna let go, or do you just try and literally fucking rip this dude's arm off? Because like there's no way that he's tapping from this shit.
Yeah, situations like that in practice, I'll just hold the arm bar there. I'll get it like right before it's gonna break, and I'll just hold it there for like, let them squirm, whatever. I'm like, all right, you're done. Like, you want me to break this? And they're like, all right, yeah, fine. Yeah.
I just don't have the fucking power though.
Yeah,
I mean, you could, but I think you've got that. You've got the ability to just literally like hold a person where they're at.
Yeah, I know how to stay attached. Like if I'm talking arm bar, like a lot of people make the mistake of just trying to break it over the fulcrum or I'm sorry, over the hip, when in reality you want to be like pulling up, like pulling the hand towards your face, picking it up, and then also controlling his head position with your legs, either in 3/4 where your feet are like behind his head, or various positions where you can stop the head from like scooting away, and you could just kind of hold them there without breaking them. Where in competition, you would just
rip it off.
Yeah, like in comp, to break an armbar, you're pulling over one hip, and then to get a full break, you switch to a double push, and you push and make that motherfucker go 190 degrees backwards, or 90 degrees backwards. Yeah,
fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about steroids in the sport, and do you think that you're a guy that is changing the paradigm?
Yeah, I mean, steroids in sport of jiu-jitsu is very prevalent. It's
at every gym.
Even in guys that aren't professional, like tons.
Especially in guys that aren't professional.
Yeah. Yep. Most of the guys, I would say probably a staggering percentage, like 95% of jiu-jitsu athletes are abusing steroids. And I have brought upon myself to start a culture of anti-doping. Right, I've been
crazy concept.
Crazy, right? Who would have thought, right? So I've never touched any kind of PED, even though it's kind of legal, like in the sport of jiu-jitsu in most like platforms. Never touched any PED. So a lot of people call me the Natty King, which is great. I approve of the name, and I'm just trying to spread the message, like, there's so many top level athletes that do PEDs. Like I want the younger generation to know you don't have to abuse steroids to have success in our sport. Like I'm the leading guy right now. I'm having great success. I'm beating everybody, and I've never touched a PED. I'm active, right? I'm young. I'm active. I train every day, and and I'm beating everybody that's on steroids without steroids. So I'm just here to show you that technique is king. Put the work in, and you guys can get the job done. They're gonna be fucking strong as shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna be strong because they're on steroids. You can get stronger by lifting weights and eating your body weight and protein consistently over a long period of time. But technique will make you so much stronger than any steroid, right? Get the best technique possible. Study the correct athletes, and you will improve. And you do not need to do steroids to be at the world's highest level.
Yeah, I think the problem in jiu-jitsu is that you do need steroids if your body isn't, like, if you don't have a certain frame or like genetic. So there's only like a top level that you can get to, right? So you're like one of these physical specimens that are natural.
There's also not that many genetic freaks in the sport. Like
exactly.
if you look at NCAA wrestling or fucking Olympic wrestling, you look at these guys, they look incredible. There's not them, like, jiu-jitsu's new. I'm one of only a few guys that are like freak athletes in the sport. And as the sport gets more Americanized, there are going to be more intelligent and better athletes coming towards jiu-jitsu that don't need steroids to have the strength, the speed, the athleticism, the mental acuity to improve and to compete. So, it's like steroids are making people that are not gifted seem like they're athletic, seem like they're incredibly strong, when they're just fucking injecting themselves and not necessarily putting the work in. They're just abusing steroids, getting stronger, and having benefits from it. But I'm starting the culture anti PEDs.
Well, I think you are, and if you think about where jiu-jitsu's at, and there's kind of some parallels in motocross in a sense, right? So you talk about why is Jet better than Hunter? Technically, no. He's better physically. Like, he has a better physique, right? Mm-hmm. Motocross
Are they twins?
No, they're a couple years apart. Hunter's a few years older.
Gotcha.
So, but it's very similar parallels, right? So, and there's an argument to be made that there's some PED use in motocross, which I feel like when you're getting injured in the way that these guys do, there should be like some stuff that you could do, like, peptides help with injury.
Are they drug tested?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, not like some dude, like Stewart got done for Adderall use.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even though he had a prescription, but he didn't have a therapeutic use exemption. So, but anyway, so you've kind of got some dudes that arguably are doing it, but if you look at like Ricky Carmichael, not a freak athlete.
Yeah.
James Stewart, not a freak athlete. Like a freaking talent and a freaking like what he could do on a motorcycle. But like his 40-yard dash is a box of shit.
Yeah.
Like there's no physical, like he ain't making an NFL team.
Well, it could be like athleticism could be less than that. It could be more like timing, like how fast your brain thinks to your body reacts. That's an athletic virtue.
Yeah, for sure. But so what happens when you get all of that plus the physique?
Yeah.
So, and that's what is just now starting to happen in motocross, I think. And you're the guy in jiu-jitsu, so it's like it's just now starting to happen in jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah.
So you got like Chase Sexton, freak athlete. Like, dude's a fucking animal. And then you've got Jet Lawrence, dude's a fucking animal. They basically won Jet did win every race, but it was like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So it's like we're entering the era in moto where the freak athlete that does have the mental acuity, that does have the crazy timing, that did grow up on a bike, and they're just gonna be unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in the way that your career is going. You look at a guy like Gordon, he wasn't like, he was my size basically. Like, how tall is he? 6 foot?
He's like 6 foot, yeah.
6, yeah. So I'm 6 foot. I'm 170 pounds. Mm-hmm. And like when I started jiu-jitsu, that's what he was.
Yeah.
He was a purple belt that was about 6 foot, and he was about 175 pounds, right? Yeah.
And he was like 170 up until like 22, 21 and something like that. You know what I mean?
That's not like to reach that top level, to beat a guy like Galval, like Muhammad Ali, like the fucking freaks, bro. Like they're just these gnarly, massive fucking gorillas that have also been on steroids their entire fucking life. So it's like you did have to be that. You did have to do steroids.
Well,
win.
I
didn't.
I did the weightlifting. I did the bodybuilding style. I ate hard. I lifted hard. Took me about 7-8 years, but I got there. You know what I mean? I like I said, I cut from like 180, 85 to 170. I'm 230 pounds right now. You know what I mean? All muscle, all natural, and I did that without any PED use. The worst thing I did was creatine.
But that's pretty fucking good for you, apparently.
Yeah, it's good for the brain, good for the muscles, good for endurance. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, but I just think, like now we're going to start seeing a trend, because the problem now, and this is at least like as a fan of jiu-jitsu, like from the outside, it looks to me like you're getting top fighters in the sport that they don't have, like they can't compete all year round. Like you can't get a call up and just be like ready for a fight, which is... I think that's going to be like a huge problem going forward. So like if you've got a guy like you're saying with Gordon, where you say like, okay, he's smaller, he didn't want to get on stage with me, he didn't want, like, he's not in his like competition cycle. When you get guys like that, where that's the norm, where you've like, let's say you've done steroids and then you've gone off cycle, on cycle, you got health issues as a result of steroids that are like well documented side effects of it. So it's like, to be a legitimate professional athlete, you just can't survive if steroids are like an integral part of your competition. And you just, it's not going to be sustainable. Like you're not going to be able to compete until you're, like Andre was the man up until he was like in his 40s, But it's like now with the guys coming that you say are going to be coming, that have also NCAA athletes and tested to the shit, and there's a culture of not doing steroids, and they're already gnarly as fuck. So it's like, that to me seems like it's going to be the new way going forward. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think we're going to have a league of superior athletes coming towards the world of jiu-jitsu very soon. And I'm happy to lead the way. I really feel as if that jiu-jitsu, no-gi jiu-jitsu is the avenue for the typical like college wrestler that wants to compete, wants to have a career. They come train jiu-jitsu for a few years under the tutelage of like B team, and we will help elevate you regardless of your weight class. If you have the passion that you want to compete and you want to be the best, we'll help you get there.
What have you had many guys reaching out, and like has that process started, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely have a bunch of wrestlers reaching out, and a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys. Like B teams become somewhat of a like vacation spot. At any given time, we have like 30 plus guys from different countries just to come spend a few weeks with us and train. And nowadays we're getting more NCAA wrestlers that are like, just finishing college at like 21 or so. And they're like, man, I want to compete still. I still have this urge to get after it. And we welcome you, man. We love the work ethic, and come get some, we'll get better together.
Man, it's crazy the model that, with like B team, when you guys split. So for people that aren't jiu-jitsu nerds, basically there's a Danaher Death Squad, which was coached by John Danaher. You had Gordon Ryan, Nicky Ryan, and then there was you, Craig, Ethan, a bunch of dudes. And then they basically split to where it's just Gordon and John. They started New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. And then these fucking sideshow freaks started B team, which is the most like, it's like a crazy concept in jiu-jitsu, but you guys are fucking killing it. Like, you got the gym, you got the YouTube channel, like the merch is killing it. It's like become like a cultural thing in jiu-jitsu. And I remember when the split went down and that was kind of making news, I was like, fuck, that's a huge loss for those dudes. But it almost seems like you guys have won fucking massive out of it.
Yeah, we definitely are. We're leading. We're the leading edge of jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? We continue to improve. We're just having fun. We created a phenomenal culture, like you said. Like, people don't feel pressure to I don't know, I guess people don't feel pressure when they're at B team. If you want to be the best and you want to be great, you know, we have the resources to get you there, and we'll make sure that you compete at your highest potential. And you know, if you just want to be one of our tough training partners, training around for us, we're open to that too. You know, there's no pressure to go out there and kill people, but that's what I like to do, and you know, I have ability to like when my team is in a room with me, you know, I feel as if we feed off of each other's energy. You know, I have a certain presence that people enjoy to be around, especially if they're competitors, and you know, I just like to see my guys succeed.
Yeah, no, it's sick what you guys have built, man, and like just even the business sense, like what you guys have been able to do from a business perspective and like the marketing of it. And it seems like it's been fucking hilarious to watch Craig be able to just like open up to just be like
he's
biggest
himself now
fucking troll in
yeah
jiu-jitsu.
I feel like he was waiting for that separation so he could really like unleash his havoc. You know, he loves it.
Yeah, because you guys kind of couldn't be like that under John. It's like such a serious vibe. It's just so like, I mean, not that I've been around it, but from the outside in, it's like you can just kind of see that no one really was getting to like get their freak on in the way in the way that you guys were now.
Yeah, we definitely are ourselves at B team, and you know, it comes to our benefit. People love the authenticity that we bring to the table, and I think that's why they really relate.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So what how do you feel about like weight in jiu-jitsu in terms of like what's a good weight to try and be at? Because I'm like in a position where I'm like, fuck, should I try and put on some weight, get up to like 185? Or
I think more
like,
muscle is always, not always, but I think more muscle a lot of times is a good deal. I think if you're like, you know, 260 pounds of muscle, then your cardiovascular system is not going to be as good. But there's a balancing act. I think you should always try to maximize your
like your frame in a sense.
Yeah, maximize your frame, maximize your genetic potential. And dude, honestly, if you lift weights consistently, the correct way and eat the correct way for like 6 months, you will see tremendous difference. Like even if you put on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, that is so much muscle. Like it will change your physique for the rest of your life.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if you could do newbie gains, like if you never really lift and then you start lifting like a bodybuilder, like lifting hypertrophy, the super high reps and getting a sick pump, like you'll gain weight fast.
Because that's definitely, you know, when you talk about the like, you know, not having to do steroids and shit, like that's why so many cunts do steroids in jiu-jitsu.
Because you could gain muscle without having to work.
Well, but it's more like, yes, obviously, like that's the main thing. But when it comes to like the actual room, like just weight in general makes such a fucking big difference. And people always want to say like technique, but weight, just how much mass you have is like a huge factor in like how successful your technique can be almost, you know.
I definitely agree, but it also is a give and take to where if you're doing steroids and you're putting on size fast, then because jiu-jitsu is more of a marathon than a sprint, you start getting fatigued and then you lose because you're tired. Whereas if you gain and it's because you put on size in like a month you can gain like fucking 20 pounds of muscle and you look massive, insane. Right? And then you gain, let's say you gain 20 pounds of muscle over a year or 2 years, and then now everything has gained in order. Your heart's grown, your lungs have grown, your cardiovascular system everything has gained.
It's like adapted with it.
Exactly. And so as opposed to just your muscles inflate and then your cardiovascular system is built for somebody that's 30 pounds less. It's like it's a shock to your body. You're getting fatigued much faster. And then there's obviously other stuff you can do. Like some people do like what's the Lance Armstrong drug? EPO. Like that's like that's like a cardio thing that could also kill you pretty fast. I've heard pretty quick, right? Yeah. So you know it's a balancing act. I urge especially the younger guys, just maximize your physique, right? Eat your body weight in protein. Lift like hypertrophy. Lift super high reps. Get a pump. Train arms and enjoy the process.
Train arms. Enjoy the process. I fucking love that. So we got 80 cc's what month in 2024?
August.
Fuck, I'm so excited, bro.
It's going to be great.
What date is it?
I think it's like the 24th or one of the last weekends in August.
I'm going to be fucking back ready.
Sick.
Oh, I'm so excited. What's the roadmap look like for you?
Submit everybody.
No, like before August.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that too.
I'm sure I'll have a bunch of matches pre ADCC. But yeah, I'm just continue to work on the things that I'm not best at. I have a few more. I have a bunch of different stuff like passing guard that I'll be implementing by that time. I'm still working on tying together like loose and tight passing and
You passed
pressure camping.
loose passing this weekend.
Yep, exactly. Previously known as only the Roddy Locker, I was able to use some high step passing and force different positions, pass guard multiple times, and I'm just showing a more dynamic style of jiu-jitsu. And this come ADCC, I'll be working on lots of leg locks and just things that I know I need to work on. And when the time comes, I'm on it, bro. I'll be ready.
Do you think you won't get to fight Gordon before that? You don't think? There's not a world in which he does that.
He doesn't want to compete against me. Period. But so I guess I'll see him at ADCC if I don't see him before that.
How do you feel about the matches with him? Like, and you've trained together. Is it hard to compete against a dude you've trained against so much?
Well, I mean, hard in the sense that you know each other's game plan, what each other are gonna do. But like the first time we competed against each other was
that ADCC was the first time?
Yeah, first ADCC he heel hooked me, and then we had another competition like maybe like 2 months later, and I ended up breaking his foot in a toe hold and forced him to tap out at the end of the match when I had a fully locked up rear naked choke as the time's running out. And I think that just that broke him mentally. Right, immediately after that match, he retired for like a year plus. He turned down all his matches that he had previously signed. He lost about 40 pounds of muscle. He went through a deep depression, and it was beautiful to see that me cause all this destruction in his life. It was absolutely amazing.
It's hectic, the friendship to enemy ship that has taken place. Or you just never were friends.
He's always been my enemy. I tried to, first of all, training with him, I always knew that we were going to be competitors against each other. You know what I mean? So I treated our training sessions as so. I would do certain things to not give him the real feel. And then I would go out of my way to try to be friendly, like, go hang out with him, like outside of the gym and whatnot. And he's just like stuck. He would just stare at his phone the whole time, like trying to avoid outside world. And he kind of hates himself a little bit. And, I know why. But it's just funny to see that, man.
What was it like to go from, because I guess, okay, maybe you weren't friends, but you were like teammates and you're around all the time. Like, what is it like to then just get an open license to just fucking hate him as much as you wanted without consequences? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it doesn't make any difference to me. For him, he likes posting on social media stuff. So he I remember one time I had when was this? I had like I think after he accused me right after our match of doing steroids, right? And
that's okay. Yeah.
He accused me of doing steroids, which I've never done, and he accused me of greasing, which I've also never done, which doesn't make any sense because why would I do one and not the other? You know what I mean? But anyway, so he accused me of being on steroids, and then I go on Mark Bell's podcast.
That was the best 6 months of jiu-jitsu talk of all time, by the way. It was so fun.
Yeah. So I go on Mark Bell's Power Project podcast, and they asked me about like why Gordon's
so good.
So good. I was like, bro, honestly, it's because he uses and abuses steroids, which isn't a big deal. He said it publicly multiple times that he uses steroids, so he like freaked out that I said that, and then he posted something like 70 or 80 stories all about me, how I suck or whatever. He's just having like a mental breakdown online, and all I did was just post this one reel that was taken on the Mark Bell podcast. And I don't really I don't spend too much time on social media. I'm more of like, I'll post and
post and goes.
Post and goes. Yeah, I'll post and I roll out of there. But he likes to talk, and he lives his life on social media, which is because he wants to escape his reality, because his reality is fucking gnarly, in the worst way possible. But yeah, I just live life, have a great life. I continue to just train and get better, focus on myself. Whereas him, he's kind of like, focused on me, which is good.
Dude, that whole thing just triggered like the fucking sickest rivalry kind of deal. Because so then for people listening, you've got to go back and just dive back in the archives and kind of watch some of the content that came, because it went like mainstream, really.
Yeah.
Like so basically he's accusing you of steroids, you're saying you're natty. He then says that he'll pay for like a gnarly drug test protocol for you to do. And you're like, sweet, I'm fucking down with that. So then he gets Derek from More Plates, More Dates, who's like one of the fucking biggest G's on the internet. And then his fucking video, like breaking down your blood test, is the fucking funniest shit of all time. Because he's like, well, but I'm paraphrasing your whole video, but it's like, okay, so it doesn't look like he's on steroids, doesn't look like he's done steroids, but holy fuck, this man has gnarly cholesterol. What does he eat? What is his fucking diet? This is insane. I need to fucking talk to him.
Yeah, so I have naturally high tests, but also like high cholesterol. So back to the bodybuilding stuff, right? So not only was I lifting, eating like a bodybuilder, I was convinced that if I didn't eat my body weight in protein, that I was going to shrink. Yeah, I was, dude, because I'd see lifters, like they go do like a bodybuilding show, they come back like fucking skinny. I'm like, what happened? This can't be real. So I was convinced that was like everybody. So I was eating, no lie, I was eating like a few pounds of red meat a day, every single day for like 7 or 8 years, and Derek was like, yo, like you gotta stop, dude. Like your cholesterol is crazy. So we came to the conclusion that I'm natural, lifetime natural athlete, but also have high cholesterol. So thank you, Derek. Now I changed my diet up. I only eat like 2 meals a day, really, and it's usually chicken and rice, or I have like a clean steak and rice and veggies. And I'm actually gonna get my blood work done as soon as I get back to Austin, by Merrick Health, which is Derek's company as
sick.
well. Yeah, so I'll get that done again, because it's been quite a few months since that video dropped, and immediately I changed my diet. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking switch this up, and yeah, we'll see how the blood work goes. So fingers crossed. Dude, I've changed my diet so much, it's got to make a huge difference, because I was not only eating like pounds and pounds of steak every day, but I was also not eating like any vegetables. Like I was just like rice, potato, and pounds of meat. So I'm
eating like a fucking lion in a zoo.
Exactly. I only cared about hitting my protein, performing, and now I care about longevity. So it should be substantially different.
The thing that I look at you and I'm like, all right, fucking dude's a gangster athlete, but I'm also look at you like, you're just fucking winging it.
Yeah, bro.
So much shit. Like you're so not optimized. Like because there's this thing that people do, and I've been one of these people as well, and it's like moto related, and to where it's like you'll fucking be the vet dude that's just completely doing everything wrong, but he'll have like the sickest suspension, the sickest bike, the sickest car to get to the track. So it's like doing all of the fucking 1% like fucking sprinkled dust on it kind of thing, and just do like none of the base level work. You're the exact opposite. You're like the dude that's done all of the fucking work, but just has zero of the fucking extra shit. And it's like, I just wonder what your ceiling is if you have people in your corner that are like treating you almost like a fucking physical science project.
Yeah, if we had the same setup like NFL athletes have, where they have like masseuses and dietitians and shit. Yeah, I'm just watching YouTube videos and trying to fucking make means of it. You know what I mean? Like trying to get the most out of it, and it's working so far. And I'm for some stuff, a lot of stuff, maybe most stuff, I'm winging it. And other things, I'm very calculated.
Oh, and yeah, it's not like disrespectful. It's it's like a good thing, to where it's like you've already reached this level. just fully on your own, just like eating fucking your body weight in front. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense. But it's like, okay, we need this and we need this and we need these supplements and like this recovery. And, you know, there's just, it's cool to be in the position that you're in to where it's like you're doing so fucking well. And there's still so much more that you could achieve. And it's like, had the same conversation with the Deegans, you know, like they're fucking winging it too in a way. And it's like, that kid is so amazing and so insanely good. And he doesn't have a nutritionist. He doesn't have like, there's just all this stuff. Like LeBron James spends what, $1 million or $2 million a year just on his like body. Imagine what the fuck would happen if you
I know.
if someone gave you a $2 million body budget.
Yep, I'd spend it so I don't have to pay taxes on it. I'd get rid of it.
That's real.
Yeah.
No, it is cool though to see like the level that you got to, you know. And that whole video with Derek and the whole, I mean, I think it blew jiu-jitsu up even bigger than it was, which is cool. But then, it was just like the amount of shit you weren't doing right, like the knowledge he was able to get. I was like, this A, he's not on steroids, and B, he's fucking doing so much shit wrong. It's like, I would feel that's like literally the all-time fucking backfire for what that whole saga was meant to do.
It made me better. Like I sharpened up my diet. You told me I'm healthier. I'm performing just as great as I always have, but now I have better blood work, I guess.
But not to mention that, bro, just the brand.
It's the brand,
like the fucking Natty King. And then you got like the Liver King. Like, so it was right at the time where there was like the whole Liver King. And then you're like, I'm the fucking Natty King. And then like that dude goes, pops some steroids. Who fucking knew?
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
Wow, dude, crazy. But then like, so all of that happened at the same time. And it just kind of like blew you up to be even bigger than what you were, you know?
Yeah, definitely a blessing. You know, I don't know if if Gordon actually thought I was on steroids, because I've always been like bigger and stronger than him.
I want. But what I wonder is like, you were around him a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like steroids is hard to hide.
Yeah,
if you're with someone every day.
I think that it's hard for him to cope that I have this phenomenal body, these gifts, and he has to inject himself with fucking tren to acquire any kind of physique. Yeah, to acquire like a decent physique. And then even when he does all the steroids, he's as big as he possibly can be. I'm still 10 pounds heavier than him. You know what I mean? Like at his biggest, he's like 225. I'm 230, 235 natural. Bigger biceps, better looking physique. Like when I get a pump, I look, it's crazy. I double in size with a pump, bro. The only difference is the guys that are on gear, they're always pumped up.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fucking so funny. Yeah. But I think before too, I was kind of talking about like the progression of the matches, like the 80cc match, probably not your best match you've ever had. Mm-hmm. And then that 3 months later, there's like a pretty massive improvement to where like, you had that toe hold, which broke his foot, and then the choke at the end. So it's like, that definitely has to give you a lot of confidence as well.
The longer they wait, the better I'm going to get.
That's kind of true too.
Every month that passes, bro, I improve. Think about it. These guys have plateaued. They've been training for 15 years. I'm only at year 5. I'm going to continue to get better at a rapid rate. I still have so much to learn, and I'm already so much better than them.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's rough. Is there anyone you're seeing that's next in a way? Like who's the next?
I don't know. I think my brother's gonna blow up really fast, really soon. He's at year like 3 of training jiu-jitsu, and he's phenomenal. He just has a few different things to work on to get him to like that next level.
It's crazy the time. What took him, I guess, 2 years after you were training to want to do it? He
was like in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's
just too young, basically.
Yeah, he was in high school doing like wrestling practice and stuff like that. And once he saw me in my first 80cc, he was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So mom was like, listen, just graduate high school and you can go ahead and chase it down.
It's pretty sick too that you've been able to create a bit of a path for your brother.
Yeah, for sure. We've always like kind of worked together, you know, like wrestling together. Or wrestling definitely brought us closer, like, you know, bonded us together. And then you know, I created this path towards jiu-jitsu. I gave him like what kind of fundamentals I thought that would help him have success early on, and he listened really well. And you know, he had good success. He won ADCC trials as like a blue belt. It was fucking crazy. Training like less than 2 years, he beat multiple black belts, not only just black belts, but competitors. He had 7 matches, 7 submissions against and it was the toughest ADCC trials that's ever been in the whole fucking world. And he absolutely went out there and dominated. So that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy. Did he? What trials was that? West Coast trials?
That was West Coast trials.
2019?
No, West Coast trials like 2020, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So did he go to ADCC last year?
Yeah.
How did I missed all that?
Yeah, he lost to Pedro Mourinho by
he's a fucking beast.
Yeah, by like a point, but like a point and a second, right? So like he's like the score's like 1-0 or something close like that, and Jay's on top passing his guard, and he has like his big toe like stuck in like half guard, like 3/4 half guard, and as he's passing, time runs out. Yeah, so very close match again.
Fuck, that's not against a really good dude,
and against like a natty guy going against a fucking heavily enhanced grown man. You know, Jay was like 20 years old. Jay might have even been 19 back then, and Pedro was like, you know, almost 30 years old with a lifetime of jiu-jitsu and versus 2 years, which is fucking insane. So you know, this coming year he's gonna do damage.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy, dude. And how many guys is B team gonna have at ADCC?
I think right now we have about 8. Let me see. It's gonna be yeah, we might have about eight or so going to the ADCC World, especially after this coming West Coast trials.
That's insane. When is the next West Coast trials? Is it
March?
Okay,
end
cool.
of March in Las Vegas.
Yeah, sick.
Yep.
And so, will we see you at any Supercrosses this year? Trying to make that happen?
Yes, dude. Let me know. I would love. I've always wanted to go to a Supercross. Closest thing I've done a couple X Games.
Oh, sick.
So I've seen like the freestyle and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love to go to a Supercross, my guy. Yeah, let me know. Let's link up at one.
Yeah, so we'll either A1 or there's Arlington. How far is Arlington from Austin?
Doesn't matter. I'll go.
Who gives a fuck?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, mate, thanks for doing this. It's been fucking cool. Cool to pick your brain about jiu-jitsu. Cool to hear a bit about your story. And yeah, it was fucking rad to ride with you yesterday.
Dude, I had an absolute blast. I can't thank you enough for helping me get on a bike again. It was fucking amazing. Guys, if you guys want to check out our jiu-jitsu content, B-Team JJ, B-Team Jiu-Jitsu on YouTube and Instagram, you know, enjoy the show. That's how we go. And check out Carne Jerky, CarneJerky.com. I'm the jerky man. I sell beef and secret sauce. That's how it goes.
Any other sponsors you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, my regular sponsors, we got VHTS.
Very hard to submit.
Very hard to submit. Jiu-Jitsu, rash guard and shorts and clothing. We have Fuel Apparel, Jackson chains and whatnot. Thanks for the support. Evil Gen supplements. And that's it.
That's it. The Natty King, soon to be Yamaha.
Soon to be Yamaha. Bro, Yamaha Alpine Stars just follow me on Instagram, so maybe we got a connection.
Dude,
there. Right?
How sick would it be to rock up at ADCC with like a Yamaha logo, like Rodriguez 427 on the back? Is that 427?
247.
247.
All day, every day.
That would be fun. That's a dope fucking You should get VHTS to do like a moto type fucking.
Ooh,
we should do that.
We should. We'll say collab.
Yeah, okay, I'm down. We should try and make that happen.
Let's do it.
Fucking ideas. I love it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna try and go to B Team at some point to just get fucking murdered and post it.
Let's do it.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.